Hello everyone, welcome to What If Naruto Was Trained by Meliodas, Zeldris Estarossa to be Bloody Demon of Konoha Part 2. Before we start, please go support Diego Lopez 917 for writing that awesome fanfic. This is the translated version I made. There will be some mistake in character's gender, but of course Naruto is a male. Chapter 7. We found ourselves in the council room where the clan leaders were located. Next to them was the civilian council, which ended up being reduced to Hamura, Koharu, and Danzo. There was also the current Hokage, the Sannin Orochimaru, along with his still assistant Minato Namikaze, who is in charge of the paperwork, of course, only for the civilians. Orochimaru, Kakuku, thank you very much for coming to this meeting that I made. You may wonder why I called you. It is to inform you that Kushina is no longer a member of the Uzumaki clan because she broke one of the many rules of her clan, he said with a smile. Choza, and we can know exactly what rules she has broken, and since she is not the heir of the Uzumaki clan, then whoever will assume her position, Kurosaki, is still very young to assume the position, and is not very mature, let's say, she said, looking at them. Shikaku, besides, how can we be sure that she broke a clan rule, and it's not an invention of yours to assume those charges without having evidence? He said seriously while everyone nods. Liza, wow, questioning the words of your Hokage. What a lack of respect like that of many who I could see as they nodded to his words. And you, Shikaku, I know perfectly well that you know that what he says is true. What I wonder is why you try to erase the truth with unjustifiable accusations, she said seriously and arriving at the room. Everyone, Liza Uzumaki, Kushina's mother and known in the ninja world as the habanero of bloody death, everyone said, completely surprised since she was in their childhood of all the clan leaders when they were just children, and they are surprised at how young she looks. Liza, the same as always, and yes, I have returned. As you know, I was absent for a few years during my search to find survivors of the Uzumaki clan, and then returned to the same village in which my great-grandfather and great-grandmother Hashirama Senju and Mito Uzumaki created so that the new generations would not suffer what we had to go through in the stage of constant wars, and also that to find out that all of you have mistreated, tortured, beaten my beloved grandson Naruto for so many years just to speculate, or is it that any of you know the meaning of that word, she said seriously. Shibi, speculate means to make conjectures or hypotheses about something that has been seen, in this case, as Minato Namikaze said, saying that Naruto Uzumaki was dead and the Kyuubi used his body to deceive people, and the more I hear it the dumber it sounds, he said seriously. Liza, correct then. If you know what that is, then why, when this attempt of man said that nonsense, nobody protested anything? Or is it that it crossed your mind trying to know if what he said was true? Or is it that none of you have what the human being defines as common sense? No, right, you paid attention to the first. So if this idiot tells you that Mikoto was possessed by the spirit of Madara Uchiha and wants to destroy Konoha, you believe him without having any evidence of that, and you treat her like garbage, because if that is the case, then you should change the clan leaders of this village, said reproachfully. Listen, Lady Liza, we understand well what you are saying, but we are just getting carried away by what Kushina told us, but she was interrupted by a murderous instinct that came from none other than the eldest Uzumaki herself, who said the following. Liza, so on top of everything they are cynical. Don't come to me with this. If your mother saw you, she would be disappointed in you. Your mother was proud, but only when she had to, and if she made a mistake she had the courage to accept her mistakes. Instead, all of you try to excuse yourselves with cheap nonsense. And listen, the parents of all of you gave their lives in the Third Shinobi World War, in which you died, as legends and examples to follow, and I assure you that they would not have done the same as you of mistreating a child, even if you had possessed him, and even if you hurt him. The only one who suffers damage is the body. You were literally hitting the glass, thinking that with that you were hurting the water inside, and as a result now the water came out a long time ago. You are a disgrace, all of you, for each of your clans and for the ancient leaders who were before each and every one of you, she said seriously, making each of the leaders lower their heads in shame for the first time. Even Hyuga, known for his pride, lowered his head in shame, and at this moment all the clan leaders felt like scolded children. Liza, leaving that aside, Kushina has broken not one but many rules of the Uzumaki clan. The first one she broke was abandoning her family. That happened when she left Naruto in an orphanage and denying him as her son. Another rule is having mistreated her son, who, being the firstborn by tradition, must be the new heir of the clan. Likewise, attacking an heir without any justification is a very serious crime, but the worst is what she did when I came. she used the diamond chains that were created in order to restrain an out-of-control bijou. It is a power of defense and attack. When I arrived, I saw with my own eyes how she was about to use them to hurt her youngest son, and those chains are capable of killing even Jounin. If it weren't for Danzo, little Karma would have died and that of all of them. Whoever breaks it will become the dishonor of our clan and will receive a severe punishment, she said seriously. Natalie, and that punishment is receiving the Uzumaki prison seal, a seal that forever erases any type of ties they have with the clan, and on top of that, that seal completely eliminates the chakra network and the ability to strengthen with taijutsu, and it is impossible to cure, and as if that were not enough, her life will also be shortened. Kushina will not even reach 70 years of age. The maximum is 44 years old, and taking into account that she is 36, she only has 8 years of life or less left, she said seriously and arriving. Liza, oh, and before you say anything, she is Natalie Uzumaki and she is Kushina's cousin. She is now the new heir to the clan and will be in the meetings from now on, she said seriously while she sees them and someone speaks. Orochimaru, Kakuku, and of course you, Lady Liza, are a new counselor for the Hokage, and like my great friend Danzo, your vote will be more valid than the rest. Did you hear me? He said with a smile while looking at them. Danzo, well, before you go, there is still a matter to resolve, and by the way, the matter will come soon, so wait a moment, he said, to the confusion of many of those present who did not understand well what he said. Until they heard noises that were slowly coming, and when the door opened it showed an Anbu who had Tsunade Senju tied up with ropes, who was trying to escape, but it was impossible because her chakra was sealed. Tsunade, damn it, I already told you to let me go, damn Anbu, just let me get free and I'll make you pay for interrupting my drinks and bets, she shouted angrily, ignoring the people in the room who were watching her. Liza, I see you inherited bets from my great-grandfather, but he never reached the point of turning it into an addiction. He left it for his old age and always had the duty to protect his people and to become stronger, and drink at these hours. And on top of that, look at you, you are not the woman I ever knew, dear grandmother, she said seriously as she walked towards her. To which the blonde turned around and looked with clear surprise. It was her niece, Kushina's mother, who had come to know her and had seen her for a long time, although before she could speak again, someone else got there first. Orochimaru, Kakuka very well work in bringing her knew in advance that she was not going to accept to come to the meeting, and I had to send one of my best Anbus. You are as strong as ever, Anbu Wolf, or should I say Nawaki, Senju said with a smile. When he said that, absolutely everyone present was completely surprised, except for the blonde, who saw how said Anbu took off his mask, showing his face and seeing his younger brother. Nawaki, it's been a long time, dear granddaughter. It seems that life has treated you well, Liza. Look at you, you look very young, he said with a smile while hugging her, and she accepted it. Liza, I say the same, dear grandfather, even though you are older than me, it seems that you are younger. I know that you have taken care of yourself unlike your sister, she said, observing the blonde Senju while she says. Tsunade, brother, where have you been and why did you never tell me where you were, and I want to ask you, do you know where Dan is, she said, looking at him just to see how his expression would change from happy to serious. Nawaki, why do you want to know about him, and don't tell lies, Tsunade, if it's not alcohol or gambling the rest doesn't matter to you, and you know perfectly well why Dan and I distanced ourselves from you. We told you that Naruto wasn't the Kyuubi, but you denied it. We showed you proof of it, and you still didn't believe us, and when we saved Naruto, they called Dan and me traitors. You told me he wasn't your brother, and you divorced Dan, and it was Orochimaru with Danzo who gave me the opportunity to be in the shadows, and I was collecting information, and among one of them I found a very interesting file, he said, showing a paper, and using his Uzumaki seal he showed it in the form of a screen. File screen. Creature name, Asahi Senju. DNA-based progenitors, Tsunade Senju and Jiraiya the Toad Sannin. Date of birth, July 1st. Age registered in Konoha, 1 year old. Current whereabouts, left in Star Village for unknown reasons. When it was played, the room fell into complete silence. No one was able to speak, and the tension was broken as if it were a thread while someone spoke. Nawaki, when I saw it I couldn't believe it, but it was true. You were unfaithful to Dan during his marriage with the bastard Sannin of the Toads, and on top of that you abandoned my nephew. How is it happening to you? Tsunade said angrily. Tsunade, Please, you must understand that happened when I was drunk. We got carried away, and apart from that I didn't want to have that brat who reminded me of that horrible night when he said the last thing he received a blow from the oldest Uzumaki. Liza, enough. If before you were in trouble, now you are worse. Tsunade, you have broken many rules, not only of the Uzumaki clan but of the Senju clan equally. With this scene I need not say that Tsunade is also going to be expelled from both clans. Will be imposed the Senju seal, which is almost the same as the Uzumaki, only this one does not have the effect of reducing lifetime but will only have exactly 4 years of life left, said seriously, leaving everyone surprised and Tsunade crying in silence, knowing perfectly well that everything that is happening to her she deserved because of all the mistakes she made in her life. Now she was paying dearly for it. But before anyone could say anything else, a desperate brown-haired woman suddenly came out of the door, while she was crying like crazy while she was heading towards her husband to tell him the following. Ino's mother, Inoichi is a tragedy. Our daughter just died. I found out about it, and not only her but Hinata Hyuga has also died just now, she said, crying while everyone was completely surprised to hear her words. Hiashi, that my daughter has died. How is it that she was killed now? That perhaps the ninjas could not have done something to avoid it, and who was the wretch who killed my daughter? He said angrily while waiting for answers. Ino's mother, the one who did it was the bastard of the Namikaze Shimura Naruto family. So I demand that he be executed, she said angrily, her words causing a lot of laughter in both Orochimaru and Danzo and Nawaki. Danzo, haven't you heard the news since the Fire Daimyo came during this year's Genin graduation and found out about the injustices that Naruto suffered for years? He imposed a rule that if anyone bothers Naruto, he can defend himself in any way he pleases. That includes killing both of them, and he will never be punished, he said calmly while looking at her. Inoichi, but this can't be. I admit that maybe Ino has been very conceited and has treated Naruto badly for years, but not to the point that he wants to kill him along with Hinata, he said angrily and half offended to hear her words since someone spoke. Nawaki, really? Well, that's not what this file I have that records all the bad things that each of you did to Naruto. Let's check your files. Let's see. Yamanaka's attacked little Naruto with kunais and shurikens. Other Yamanakas used them as punching bags. Hey, you who used him as a guinea pig and tested your new mind destruction techniques, and the Hyuga, by closing their chakra points and throwing him off a cliff, then hitting them with the soft fist, and my favorite Hinata Hyuga along with Ino Yamanaka put the caged bird seal on him to treat him like a slave and hurt him on purpose at 3 years old. They want him to continue, said seriously, leaving everyone present completely silent, who were unable to say anything about what happened. However, there was no shortage of loudmouths and the cemeteries were full of fools and talkers. Ino's mother, and what does that matters? We didn't know that he was not the Kyuubi. How spitey he is. It was only more than 10 years and what he did to my daughter is unforgivable, and if none of you are going to do something, I myself will kill him as we should have done since he is just a spread. She screamed angrily while she had her husband's sword and without having thought her words through. Orochimaru, Kakuku, I must congratulate you, miss, you really had the guts to say all those things and in front of the blonde himself, isn't it like that? Naruto-kun said with a smile, seeing the woman's terrified face, who now realized what she said. And her greatest fear was to see that from the darkness came a blond man with a dark gaze that was able to see the soul of everyone present, which scared the woman even more, and to see how he approached. Naruto, now I understand where that hideous blonde got that big mouth from. Now if you miss that hitch so much, I will gladly take you to the same place where she is now, he said with a dead voice causing me to tremble. Orochimaru, Kakuku, don't get stained with the blood of that hitch. Naruto-kun, leave it to me, but don't worry, Mrs. Yamanaka, whoever is going to punish you, you're going to do it yourself, he said in a dark and serious tone. When he said that his eyes turned red and shone with a very strange tone, and so did the woman's, which confused many. Then they saw how when he moved, he raised the sword very quickly. And in less than a blink of an eye, Orochimaru, controlling the woman's body, pierced the woman's heart directly with the sword, causing her to fall to the ground dead, while a surprised Inoichi took her and cried a little for her death. Danzo, and let this be a warning to each and every one of you who believe that everything you have done to Naruto is already forgiven. Well, you are wrong. This will be marked by the entire shinobi world as the era in which Konoha was the greatest dishonor of all, he said seriously. Orochimaru, and the next one we know who wants to kill Naruto or hurt any of those he loves. We don't care who is an adult shinobi, a child, genin or chunin, he said, so that both can say. Danzo/Orochimaru, each of you will face a punishment that will make you commit suicide, but it will be useless since you will suffer the rest of eternity in hell, the two said in a synchronized manner, and with a dark voice. Time skipped 2 weeks later. At that time many things changed. First of all, it was made public that both Tsunade and Kushina were no longer the heirs of the Uzumaki and Senju clans and about their special seal, who now both spent their time crying every day trying to support them in many ways. Even Jiraiya had the guts or stupidity, whatever you want to call it, to go to Orochimaru all angry and force him to repair all this. Such an act like that ended up making him be publicly executed and being known now as the Sannin of the assholes that no one should act like. Now that the new heirs of the clans are known, an angry Kurosaki demanded that her uncle and grandmother give her the position she deserves, along with returning her mother and great-grandmother to their clans. The result was that she was expelled and now she only has the surname Namikaze, which is not even that. Now she is a clan. Because of everything that has happened, she is just a simple civilian. They also had to fix the teams due to the death of Hinata and Ino, and that Kiba had resigned and was crying in his room like a little girl. Now there was only Team 0 made up of Shikamaru Nara Tsuji Akimichi and Shino Abirame, and their sensei is Asuma Sarutobi. Another thing was that since Kushina is no longer a shinobi, they had to change the team, being that now it is Team 1 Naruto Shimura, Sasuke Uchiha, Yakumo, and Team 7 Kurosaki Namikaze, Kiyomi Uchiha being uneven, but that's how it was going to stay and they couldn't do anything since they were orders from the Hokage. And of course it goes without saying that some members of the Hyuga and Yamanaka clans were foolish enough to rush to kill Naruto, and the result was a lot of fun for our protagonist, killing many of its members in the slowest and most painful way possible, decreasing the number of members of both clans notably. Since they lowered the number of many of the clans' prestige was decreasing due to the lack of members, being less than the Uchiha, and almost becoming extinct clans, and all because of their stupidities. Present. We met a blonde man who was walking through the streets next to his beloved companion, the purple-haired girl, who were walking calmly until they came across a group known to Naruto. Gaara, it's been a while. Shimura. Naruto, it's nice to see you again. I didn't have the chance to talk much with you the last time we saw each other. I hope we can do it now, he said, bowing. Naruto, of course, I hadn't seen you since the graduation in which you came. By the way, how have things been with all of you? He said calmly while they nod. Temari, we have done very well. In fact, since our father reflected and Gaara can now be at peace, things have gone well for us now. Many already love my younger brother, and he is more sociable in our village. By the way, who is the girl who accompanies you? Said, looking at the woman who was next to the blonde. Naruto, she is Vermal-san. She also has the darkness style. She came here for me to train her, and I have been doing it ever since, and well, she is a nice company for me, he said with a small smile. Gaara, I see that you are also little by little becoming somewhat happy. That's good. I have also done it, being with my brothers, with my father. I have even had a friend, he said calmly while he sees him, and he nods his head. Kankuro, it's a pleasure to meet you. Vermal, please take good care of Naruto. We know what happened and we hope to get along well with you and the rest, he said, making a small bow while she tells him the following. Vermal, I see that the shinobis of the sand are more intelligent than those of Konoha, and I have also taken care of him a lot, and he also owes me a lot of my life, he said to hug him tenderly, being that they brought a smile to see that, and the blonde was a little embarrassed. Temari, leaving that aside, we actually came here for the Chunin exams, which are actually taking place today, and along the way we found you, so why don't we all go together? She said with a smile. They just nodded as they walked through the village until Kankuro managed to crash into someone, causing him to fall to the ground. Hey idiot, watch where you're going, don't you realize who you crashed into? Said angrily, being a child with a scarf accompanied by 2 other children, while the boy speaks to say the following. Kankuro, first of all, you were the one who came running and crashed into me. Second, there are ways to talk to unknown people, ninja, and no, I don't know who you are, and the truth is, I highly doubt it's anything important, he said seriously. Konohamaru, how cynical. I am the great Konohamaru, the next Hokage of the Leaf Village, and I am the grandson of the third Hokage. You have committed a sin by crossing my path, but if you asked me for forgiveness on your knees, maybe I will forgive you, he said with a smile. Temari, seriously, just because you are the third's grandson you think you can do whatever you want. To begin with, we are not even shinobis of Konoha, we are from the sand. In addition, we are the children of the fourth Kazakage and we do not go around bragging about it like you do, since that does not represent absolutely anything. She said seriously. Konohamaru, if I dare you to say that, it's over. I'll tell my grandfather that you attacked me and I'll start a war with the sand and all of you will die. It's worth it. I still blame that fool Karma. He has disrespected me. And I see him die, he said mockingly. Suddenly the whole place felt a powerful murderous instinct that filled the whole place with a shadow of pure darkness, and making the child tremble with fear only to see in horror who was in front of him. Naruto, but look who we have here, a spoiled brat who is capable of sending his entire village to a senseless war just for something as silly as this. Now tell me, I want to hear you again. You just openly confessed that you were going to lie, and on top of that, blame my younger brother for one of your nonsense. I see that the trash of Konoha always appear before me so that I can completely eliminate them from this world, he said with an evil smile. Konohamaru, you wait, please don't kill me, I promise, and I won't do it again. I promise I won't do anything to your brother, please, I don't want to die, he said, trembling with fear while the boy himself peed in his pants. Naruto, I should do it since with your own words you not only betrayed Konoha but you made it look ridiculous in front of our guests, so I will give you a punishment that is even much worse than death. You can take care of it, Vermel-chan said with a dark smile. She just nodded using the same dark smile, and her eyes turned dark like his but with a slight touch of red while she puts her hands on her chest and says some words that she doesn't understand, and the boy takes something white out of his mouth that she takes it. Kankuro, and what did she do? Don't tell me that she took his soul, he said scared, just like the blonde from the sand was, and Gaara was slightly scared to know that. Naruto, correct, it's a darkness-style ability that I can use anyway. Now we'll put this rotten soul in a good place. Put it on a toilet paper roll in the men's restrooms, he said with a sinister smile. Vermel, good idea. Naruto-kun really enjoys it when men use you to clean their poop. Let's see if that teaches you, fourth-rate brat, he said to say a few words and the soul goes to the place they said. Gaara, although I admit that it was such an evil punishment that it wouldn't have occurred to me, you won't have any problems for having done that to the child who is also the grandson of the third Hokage, he said with doubt while looking at them. Naruto, don't worry, because of what I experienced in my childhood, I can attack to death or seriously hurt anyone who bothers me or attacks me, and no one can do anything to me. Anyway, let's go, and don't worry, I would never use that on you, of course, if you don't make me angry, he said to walk next to the girl followed by those from the sand. After a while they arrived at the academy where they met the rest of their team who were outside waiting for them, and watching them arrive only for the blonde and the purple-haired girl to go say goodbye. Vermel, well, we'll separate at this point. I hope you do well on the exam, Naruto-kun. Although I know this is a gift for you, I still wish you the best. I'll be waiting for you when the exam is over, he said with a smile. Naruto, thanks Vermel-chan for always being with me, and don't worry, I know I'll be fine, and when we finish I want to talk to you about some things, and it's that I've wanted to tell you, he said the last thing a little nervously. Vermel, hee what a coincidence, I also have some things that I want to tell you, but for now you should go, I don't want you to be late, he said with a smile while looking at him. Before he left, she grabbed his cheeks and placed a kiss directly on his lips, making him surprised but reciprocating. They lasted for a few seconds until they separated, both quite blushing while someone said, Naruto, I don't know what to say, I mean I liked it, it was warm, I mean it was cute, shit, I don't know what I'm saying yet, this is something new to me, although I don't know what this turns us into, Vermel-chan said blushing while looking at her. Vermel, don't worry, this is new to me, but from what Anko told me, this makes us boyfriends since I like you, Naruto-kun, even though we haven't known each other for long, they have been the best moments of my life, so I want you to be my boyfriend, or as the humans say, he said with a smile. Naruto, I say the same, these moments that I have spent with you were the best of my entire life, and yes, I would love for you to be my girlfriend, and I promise to always be by your side because I like you, Vermel-chan said with a smile that made her blush quite a bit. So both seeing each other with affection gave each other a last kiss on the lips, being seen by the Uchiha girl, who exploded with fury upon seeing that scene. She wanted to do something, however her legs were not able to move, and she only saw it with disgust. Then the girl left very happy, even though Anko was far away, very happy for what she saw, but of course she made fun of it, and when the girl left, the blonde returned to his cold state as always, being noticed by his team. Yakumo, you know, even if you pretend to be angry, we both know very well that you are more than happy. Just remember that you must be loving with her and never speak to her in a cold manner, even in public, if you want to maintain your relationship," she said calmly. "Naruto, I'll take it into account, even though you're talking to me about this as if you were already an expert on it. Don't tell me you already have a partner. Who was the brave one?" he said with some mockery, although he didn't expect what they said at all. "Sasuke, even if you doubt it, Dobyakumo and I have actually been dating for a few weeks since we spent a lot of time together training and creating genjutsu together, and well, we had an attraction that I don't regret," he said with a small smile. "Yakumo, me either. Before I only had Anko-sensei, but since I've been on the team I was able to meet who would be my future boyfriend. What's true is that until now only you know, and we're going to make it public," he said looking at him. "Naruto, you know, I've rarely been impressed, but you did it. I never saw you two as couples, but I'm happy for both of you. Anyway, we have to go for the Chunin exams," he said, so that his team nodded. After a while they entered and saw a scene where they saw Kurosaki being harassed by a boy with big eyebrows asking her to be his girlfriend, and she rejects him and saying that she will fight for his love and fill it with the flames of youth, and who knows what else. That was worth a laugh from the whole team one for seeing that scene. While they were going up to the other part of the academy, something that did not go unnoticed by a certain prodigious Hyuga who knows him well since he killed many of his clan for being idiots. When they entered they saw that there were a lot of shinobi in the place who immediately tried to intimidate them when they arrived. But being overshadowed by Naruto's great killer instinct that left them completely silent, without anything else to say, they were walking quietly while everyone stares at him until he feels someone stand behind him and says the following. "Hey brat, what a nice sword you have, it's quite curious, I've only seen one like it from a friend of mine. Tell me, do you think you can lend it to me to check if it's the same? Come on, it'll only take a moment," he said with a smile while looking at it. "Naruto, no one can take this sword, it was given to me by someone, and if you don't want to lose your life you better not make me angry because that could be your worst mistake," he said in a serious and dark tone while releasing his killer instinct. "I'm sorry but I can't do it. When I like something I take it and that's it. Not for nothing I'm a bandit, and now with greater reason I want to possess her, yes, and I want to see you angry. You don't know how I..." But he was interrupted by a slash so strong that it sent him crashing against the wall, leaving the whole place completely silent, while the blonde turned around seeing how the subject was regenerating his wounds at an amazing speed while he got up while saying the following. "Ban, ha 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 ha, it's been a long time since I felt such a monstrous force like that, hee hee. Without a doubt it's you, captain of the 7 deadly sins, sin of wrath," he said seriously while looking him straight in the eyes. "Naruto, I say the same, sin of greed. I see that you are still a very strong fox, and I see that you are still immortal," he said the same in his serious tone, while they looked at each other, and both were feeling great tension. You could feel how the two of them released both auras and looked at each other very seriously, and they were so strong that they were even breaking the ground, although what happened next nobody expected at all. "Ban, captain?" he said in an excited tone while having a childish smile, while the same was the blonde who now had a serious face, had a childish and excited expression. "Naruto, ban!" he said equally excitedly while they both play at slapping each other until the blonde laughs a little and hits him, sending him flying against the wall and drawing a lot of blood all over his body. Everyone had a what tiche buck face, even if the team had the same faces, since it was the first time Naruto acted that way, much less with someone unknown, or that was his thought. "Ban, how much strength, captain? It is certainly not even greater than before. I am very happy to see you, old friend. I knew you would manage to survive all these years that passed," he said with a smile as he stood up. "Naruto, I say the same, although now my name is Naruto. By the way, I think we called a lot of attention. I suppose we got excited again when we saw each other," he said, observing how everyone looked at them with surprise. "Yakumo, Naruto, who is he, and even more so why did you act like that with him? You have not been kind to anyone, much less acting in such a childish way. I didn't even know you had a side like that, she said, surprised like the Uchiha. Naruto, let's say he's an old best friend of mine that we should talk about something for which we need privacy since we have things to talk about, he said to make a cocoon of darkness that was not visible at all. In the cocoon of darkness. Ban, well, since we have more space, from what I can see, you are now half demon, half archangel, and I know that you are now Meliodas, Zeldris Estarossa / male. How was it possible that you joined into a single being? He said seriously. Naruto, I was once a human, but Meliodas, Zeldris Estarossa / male transformed me into his successor, and they fused with me. Now I am the three. I know it is strange, even many times it is hard for me to process it, but it was the right decision. And what about you? How did you survive since I found out who was responsible for all this? He said seriously. Ban, well, when they sealed the three of them I fought to break the seal, but King and Diane faced me even though I could against them. Many members of the giant race along with the fairies and humans faced me, but Gil Thunder Dreyfus defended me. Hendrik's son with Jericho. Then I saw in the sacred tree that another fountain of youth was created that I took without hesitation, what returned my immortality, and with it the battle was easier until I got to face Elizabeth and Gelda, until the fool Arthur showed up and revealed his plan from the beginning. I think you know that he framed us with the aim of putting us against so that they would not see his plan to erase all the clans and only humans remain. When he did it we tried to flee since we did not know what effects they were going to give us, so along with the rest we thought it would be our end, but we were saved by Lutaseal. He used a seal to keep us safe, but both Gil Thunder Dreyfus, Hendrik's son with Jericho, were very injured in the end. They died from the battle, but Lutaseal used a magic power that would reincarnate them, preserving all their memories, and that in 300 years they would resurrect, he said seriously. Naruto, I understand. I'm glad to know that little Gil hasn't betrayed me. So what were you doing all this time? He said with doubt while looking at him, and he simply sighed. Ban, since everything was erased, both the fairy forest, the giants, vampires and demons, I was alone all that time being a mercenary. Then I saw how several ninjas formed and used an energy inferior to magic called chakra. I witnessed many things, and well, when I found out about the nickname that you became famous for along with what your power can do, that's when I came to see this with my own eyes, and I'm glad to know that it was you, he said with a smile. Naruto, I say the same. By the way, have you heard anything about Escanor? I know he's still alive since I can feel Sunshine's magical power, but I couldn't identify where it was exactly. The truth is, he said, looking at him. Ban, I've probably looked for him since before all this happened. I heard that the grace of the sun has rejected anyone who possesses it, and she's waiting for Escanor's reincarnation, and from what I see he reincarnated, although I don't know where he is, although maybe we'll find him in these exams, he said calmly. Naruto, you're right. What if I came back to life? They wouldn't take long to notice our presence, and remember, if we could survive those idiots too, and you don't know what plans they have now and more, Merlin said seriously. Ban, right, we must be careful about it. For now we must find them and be attentive. You have found someone apart from me during all this time, he said with doubt while he sees him. Naruto, in fact, Chandler and Cusack are with us along with my younger brother Karma, who is the successor of Serial and the Grace of the Tornado. What is certain is that we do not know how many more will appear and who will be on our side, so we have to be very careful, he said, making him nod. Ban, that's good. However, for now we have to leave before we attract more attention. I also want to talk to you about some things, then he said so that he would nod his head and remove the cocoon of darkness. Elsewhere, we can see a hooded man who was a little far from where everyone else was, and he witnessed everything those two talked about while he thought the following when he saw it. That power is certainly just as I remember it from what I can see. They managed to survive. This is getting interesting. What if I should talk to them and warn them of something that is coming? I thought while looking at the place. Chapter 8. It's been about 2 weeks since the Chunin exam started. The first stage was a written exam given by Ibiki Marino, someone who was already very well known to Team 1 because he was Anko's boyfriend. When they took the test, it didn't take them long to finish it. When it ended, they went to the next one, who was directed by Liza Uzumaki herself due to her age, but it was enough for her to try with two idiots who made fun of her for them to leave them traumatized for life, now being quite feared by all the participants. In short, at the moment, when she went to the second round, which is to go to the Forest of Death, and each one had to go with their own scroll and had to collect theirs. The estimated time was about 4 hours, in which when they started the team managed to successfully obtain it. Team 0 failed to pass the Forest of Death, the main reason because 2 of its members were so lazy that in the end they fell asleep. Almost being about to arrive after that, they went to the pre-final rounds, in which they were somewhat boring since only a few stood out. Naruto easily ended up against his opponent, who was Niji Hyuga, who defeated him in 2 seconds. The same with Sasuke, who defeated Rock Lee easily, although Yakumo lost against Kurasuchi from the Rock Village and Ban defeated him asleep. When they finished, they gave themselves a few months for the next round, where all the Kages would be along with 2 new ones, and 1 month of training was given. During that month, Yakumo went to train with Liza Uzumaki, who agreed to train her after seeing her great performance in combat, and although she did not pass the apprenticeship, Sasuke went to train but with his brother Itachi, who decided to train him in his Sharingan and how to use the Crow contract. It was not missing to say that Kakashi went to train Kyomi. List of finals. 1. Sasuke Uchiha Leaf Village vs Guild Hunter Lightning Village. 2. Naruto Shimura Leaf Village vs Kurosaki Namake's Leaf Village. 3. Star Village vs Kurasuchi Rock Village. 4. Sabaku no Gara Sand Village vs Kyomi Uchiha Leaf Village. 6. Sabaku no Kankuro Sand Village vs Sabaku no Temari Sand Village. 7. Hendrickson Rain Village vs Unknown Village. 8. Yujuto Ni Lightning Village vs Genin of Rock Village. End of the list of finals. As for Naruto, he spent his time training or having fun with Ban in fights that lasted 3 days non-stop per week, and of course he also spent his time with his now girlfriend, who also introduced him to his best friend, and they got along well. Ben also said he had a girlfriend, being surprisingly an Uzumaki named Akemi, discovering that she was Natalie's mother, who also managed to survive. But not everything was happiness, since Kurosaki was the biggest headache for everyone, because despite having passed to the final step because she barely passed fighting against a ninja from the Star Village, and in the week of training nobody wanted to train her, Minato tried to train her in her characteristic jutsu. He did not succeed because to do so she must have a seal art, something that for her was impossible due to being expelled from the Uzumaki clan. With that said, she was looking for other people to train her, claiming that they should feel proud of being her sensei. However, due to her behavior of attacking just because of a tantrum, absolutely no one would train her. She even demanded it from Danzo and Orochimaru, who died of laughter upon hearing that stupid thing that tried to attack them, but none of its attacks hurt them, and they still spent their time laughing at all of this. It was so humiliating to see the scene of the useless attempt to harm them, and they only made fun of it. And now we find ourselves in the room where the clan leaders were gathered with the Hokage, his assistant and his personal advisors, the family of the Uchiha matriarch. For some reason they also asked for Naruto and Kakashi to be there with his wife Rin. The reason is that the Kage of the Rain Village wants to go see them to talk about an extremely important matter, and they were waiting for him. They were waiting for about 20 minutes, in which absolutely no one came, which already angered some of the clan leaders a little, until someone came from the door with the typical hat and rain cover next to 2 other hooded people who were behind him. Good afternoon, I am the Kage, or leader of the Hidden Rain Village, and I am very glad that you have accepted, and you will wonder why I made many of you, and it is that we have to resolve with some of my subordinates, he said calmly. Although just seeing the view of one of them without waiting any longer, a certain blonde assistant of the Hokage launched himself against him using his classic jutsu to a certain member who saw that it was an orange-masked man, but was blocked by the Kage of the Rain himself, who said the following. What does this mean? Is this a declaration of war? The Hokage should control his subordinates better, because the next time he attacks you, you can be sure that we will be at war, and we have many influences that could harm them, he said seriously. Minato, but how is it that he is an ally of yours? You declared war on us 15 years ago, since he is a traitor Uchiha who controlled the Kyuubi to attack Konoha. We must be at war now since he ruined my life, he said angrily. Orochimaru, be quiet, Minato, you have no say in what should be done. It was your stupidities that ruined Konoha. Now if you can continue, rest assured that it won't happen again, he said seriously. I'm glad that at least you are firm. First of all, we must reveal the identities of both me and my subordinates, he said, taking off his hood, and the other took off his mask and the other his hood, revealing their faces. When he did it, Everyone was in total shock since two of them were very well known by the Uchihas, the assistant and Kakashi himself along with his wife, while they decided to introduce themselves so that there would be no more confusion about it. Nagato, first I will introduce myself. I am the Kage of the Rain Village. My name is Nagato Uzumaki and I am Kushina's older brother. I am also the bearer of the Rinnegan, the legendary eyes, he said seriously while his purple eyes shone. Obito, next is me. Many of you came to know me in Konoha many years ago. I am Obito Uchiha. I am a direct descendant of Madara Uchiha, former student of the Yellow Lightning who supposedly died on a mission, he said seriously as he looked at them coldly. Fugaku, I think there is no need for me to introduce myself since many of you know me as a traitor after what I did a few years ago, so you should know that I am not here to kill you, he said seriously while activating his Sharingan. Liza, Nagato my boy, you are you, look at yourself, you look like your father, although how is it that you have the Rinnegan when you were a child you didn't have those eyes, what happened to you? She said with doubt while hugging him, and he accepted it with great pleasure. Nagato, I'm also very happy to see you mama, but before answering we know that many of you have questions about us, but please refrain as we will answer them starting with Obito's beginning, she said so that he would nod his head while looking at each of them. Rin, Obito-kun, how are you alive? You were supposed to have been crushed by that rock, and why didn't you come back with us? You don't know how alone I was, but she was interrupted by the aforementioned who looked at her with hatred. Obito, be quiet Noera, for now it's time to start to clarify everything once and for all. As you know, the last thing that was known about me is that after they captured Noera-san and Hataki, and I went to look for her, and I gave my life to save them along with my Sharingan, I thought I was going to die, but instead I woke up in a strange place and there were beings called White Setsus along with an old man he claimed to be Madara Uchiha, said seriously. Mikoto, wait, but that can't be. Madara Uchiha had died after facing Hashirama Senju in the Valley of the End. How is it possible that he managed to do it? She said surprised while seeing him. Itachi, Izanagi is a technique of the Uchiha clan that can change the time of the moment at will, but the price is losing an eye. But if he could do it during the battle, make it activate even after having died, he could survive and continue with his plans, he said seriously while looking at it. Obito, as always Itachi, you are right. Anyway, the reason why he saved me said he had a plan called Moon Eye to put the whole world into an eternal sleep. He told me to help him, but I told him I didn't want to go back to my friends and the girl I loved, so I have been recovering since then. When I achieved it thanks to the White Setsus cured my wounds, I immediately went to see my friends. However, what made me angry was hearing how after my death absolutely everyone spoke ill of me, saying every insult about how I was childish, and that I had a silly dream, and it was worse to hear them from the people I came to see as my family. But what hit me the most was knowing that my best friend was with the girl that I loved even before the accident, despite the fact that I revealed to him what I felt, and hearing how they made fun of my feelings. It made me angry to the point of awakening my Manjikyu or Sharingan, which reminds me that I still have to do something, he said, to get closer to Kakashi. And without thinking twice he threw a slash towards his left eye, which caused the Hataki to scream in pain, while in the hands of the Uchiha was his Sharingan, and he put it back on, now having both Sharingan, while he ignored how he screamed in pain. Rin, why are you doing this? Not Obito, the one I fell in love with? What happened to you? What did they do to you to be like that? She said, crying, while he simply ignored her completely. At the same time he spoke again. Obito, now I have what is rightfully mine, but continuing, when I returned with Madara, he told me that he saw the cruelty of the world and offered to help me. First, I pretended to accept to be close enough and kill him myself, and I destroyed his Sharingan. What I didn't tell was that there was a black Setsu next to the white one that I had. They took control of my body. I tried to resist, but I couldn't. They used my body to carry out the phase of their plan, and that was to release the Kyuubi to cause destruction to all of Konoha, and that was when I faced Minato. Yes, I did it, but it was against my own will, he said seriously. Fugaku, now it's my turn to tell. The next thing that Minato never saw was that in the Kyuubi attack I was there when I saw the masked man. I used my Sharingan to control him, and that's when I saw Obito and those Zetsus, and without thinking twice I finished off the two. When days later Obito woke up, he told me what happened. I checked his memories and I believed him, so I, along with other Uchihas, was helping him recover from his injuries. Then came the part where they blamed us for what happened and they exiled us from our lands, and it was worse when I saw how they treated their son Naruto for a stupidity, until one day some of the Uchihas saved him and brought him to me, and I verified that he was not controlled when I went to talk to Minato, but he got angry and told me that they were lies, to the point that they locked me up in Konoha jail, but my bail was paid by my family. And when I saw all the cruelty that all the people did for a child, small one who was not to blame, conspired to overthrow Minato, and thus not only recover my titles but also save Naruto. Among them Obito helped me disguised as Anbu. However, Minato was stronger, and having the help of all Konoha we were reached, and Shursui Uchiha died anyway, he said seriously. Kill me? Wait a minute, Dad, if that's true, how are you alive? Weren't you supposed to have been killed that day? How did you manage to do it? There's no way you could have survived. We even saw your body, she said with doubt while looking into his eyes. Fugaku, at that moment with all my wounds I thought I was going to die, but then there was something, or rather there was someone who saved me, and that being who also helped Obito was the Kyuubi, he said to the surprise of everyone present. Shikaku, wait a moment, you want to tell me the Kyuubi, the nine-tailed beast who is known for hating all humans, saved you? But how is it possible? And even more so, who would win by doing that? He said, surprised and doubtful, looking at the man who looks at him seriously. Obito, I still remember that moment when he told us why, and that a kind person with such a pure heart was the one who asked him, even though Konoha itself corrupted him, he said, remembering that moment. Flash back a few years ago. We can see both Fugaku and Obito, who were very hurt, while their wounds were very open, until they feel how they heal, and they see it with total surprise while someone speaks. Fugaku, why are you helping us, and how is it possible that you are here? Kyuubi, if you are supposed to be sealed in Naruto, that's really what happened, he said, surprised and doubtful while looking at the little fox, who simply said, Kurama. The idiot Minato left Naruto in a state of complete death after riding Demon on his chest. When they left him, I took the opportunity to escape, and he and I made a deal that I was his summoner in exchange for him summoning me to see Minato's foolish face, seeing how the demon, or as he calls me, escaped a long time ago, and don't worry, he is so stupid that he will not realize if I am or I am not, and he also asked me to help you too. You must live also, he said seriously. Obito, I still don't understand why you accepted. You must hate the Uchihas, since my grandfather Madara has treated you as a weapon for a long time. So you must hate the Uchihas, he said, looking into his eyes. Kurama, that may be true, that I hate the Uchihas, but you have shown me otherwise. Obito, I have seen you for a long time. Despite being your clan, you never let yourself be carried away by hatred, even knowing the cruel truth of what those you considered family thought. And you, Fugaku, have always fought to defend your clan. You were never arrogant like the rest have been, and above all, you were willing to help Naruto even though he was not from your clan. You saw an injustice and did something that not much, if not anyone, did for him, and that is why the two of you have earned my respect. That is why I will heal you and take a little of your essence to create false replicas of you, and you can escape, he said seriously. Fugaku, thank you very much, Kyuubi-san. Really, all the things they say about you are wrong. I can even say that you are a nice person. I hope to talk to you better later, he said calmly. Kurama, you are also the first one besides Naruto who talks to me like that. By the way, we have names and mine is Kurama. That is my real name, and only you two know it, said Sari while healing them both. And a flashback from a few years ago. Obito, when we recovered we went to the Rain Village, since Madara told me before that he hid his Rinnegan in an Uzumaki, and put a seal on him that erased his memories and replaced them with false ones that Konoha killed his family. When I arrived I went to Nagato immediately and I took it from him. He remembered everything, and since then we helped him strengthen the Rain Village, which is now a ninja village, and we were aware that sooner or later we would have to confront our past, he said seriously. Nagato, I also wanted to see the Leaf Village and confront that unfortunate Jiraiya who abandoned us when we needed him most, and who was only interested in me for my Rinnegan, which makes me even angrier, but I know that now he is in hell and that's enough for me, he said seriously. Sasuke, leaving that aside, I'm very happy to see you, Dad, and don't worry, I knew everything that happened and that you were never a traitor. Naruto told me before, and he guided me on a good path, he said calmly. Fugaku, I'm glad to hear that, Sasuke, and well, before you ask Mikoto, you are not obligated to be with me if you don't want to, since I know that our engagement was forced, but you have the decision to choose who to be with. And but he was interrupted by a kiss on the mouth from the girl, who said the following. Mikoto, since you weren't with me, I felt alone knowing that you weren't there anymore, and of course I want to be with you. I love you, although I suppose you're not going to stay in Konoha, right? She said something sad while she saw him. Fugaku, actually, despite everything, I must take care of my own people. Even though this place brings me bad memories, I must be here anyway just for my beloved family, he said with a smile while looking at her. Nagato, I also want to take advantage of these moments to spend time with my family. I also want to see my Aunt Akemi, who I also found out was here, he said calmly while looking at everyone present. Liza, of course, son, we will spend time as a family. You should also meet little Karma. I know he will love to meet his uncle. We will spend a very happy time, she said with a smile while she sees them all, while someone. Obito, which reminds me, Fugaku, we must go to the Uchiha clan. We must use the Sharingan that your father and my father left as an inheritance to have the eternal Manjikyu. Do you think you can help us with that? He said seriously. Nawaki, don't worry, I'm a Kage SSS rank medical ninja. I can help you do it with pleasure. You just have to accompany me, he said calmly while they nod their heads while someone speaks. Itachi, I want to do it too. I want to put on the eyes of my best friend Shursui, who left them to me as an inheritance on his deathbed. He said the same so that the Senju nodded while everyone got organized. Orochimaru, Kakuku, well, I think that's all. Tell everyone you know immediately so there are no misunderstandings. This meeting is over, he said, so everyone nodded in agreement. When it ended as promised, now both Fugaku and Obito and Itachi have the eternal Sharingan. What is that? Naruto along with his girlfriend Vermal next to Ban and Tomo, these had to be presented, and along with Karma, who accepted her uncle, along with Obito, who also accepted him since he got along very well with Natalie, and they spent their time talking and being calm while they talked, but they met with unwanted people. Asuma, Obito, so it's true that if you were alive, I'm very happy to see you again, friend, he said, trying to shake his hand, being rejected by the aforementioned, who looked at him angrily while Algui 2W. Kurenai, hey, why are you like this with Asuma? I was just giving you a friendly gesture, you don't have to see us like this, we are your friends, she said angrily as she sees him, and he simply looks at her with his red eyes. Obito, until when are you going to pretend that for you Kurenai wasn't like she was, like the idiot who follows his silly dreams so that in the end he ended up dying like an idiot, so that at least he left something useful? Or what about you Asuma, who said he was good for nothing and it's good that he died? I was tired of pretending to be his friend, or now I know better what you told me. Hate. That loser at least served some purpose, and that was to die and let the strong survive, he said angrily. Hate? How do you know all that? He said, surprised and scared, since he still remembered those moments in which he said things that sooner or later he would regret. As he got older, the rest thought the same. Obito, I was there. I was going to tell you that I was alive. I thought that everyone was sad about my death. What a surprise! I found out that my whole life was a lie, that you were only my friends out of pity only, and you lied to me. You knew that I liked Rin. I told you my biggest secret, and you pretended to support me. Also that to make fun of me. Believing that made me angry. All my life I always tried to be strong above all, but everyone always loved Kakashi. He could even try to kill them and still prefer him, and all because of the death of his father. Someone talked about me. Someone asked how I felt when my grandmother, my only family, died. Nobody cared anymore because I was an idiot, an airhead, unlike Kakashi. I tried to get ahead and I didn't want the past to affect me. He lost his father and wanted to kill himself. But when I lost my only family, I did his stupidity. I didn't get ahead no matter what, and I have hidden everything in that positive attitude in the face of all the mockery they said about my dream of being Hokage, and I wanted to show that those who break the rules are scum, but those who abandon their friends are worse than scum. And that's each and every one of you, he said angrily, his red eyes glowing with intensity until he feels someone hug him. Natalie, calm down Obito-kun. Everything will be fine now, you are not alone anymore. I understand how much you suffered because of them, but it is not worth lowering yourself to the level of these inept people, she said while stroking his head to calm him down. Liza, all of you, what you are and represent, has no real name. If they had known what your parents were going to become, they wouldn't have risked their lives for you to waste them for all these things. And when I feel like you can't disappoint me anymore, you always exceed my expectations, she said seriously. Making everyone lower their heads to hear his words since they know it was true and they have nothing to excuse until when they were about to leave someone could see Kushina with her white hair and a sad look until she got to see her brother, something that surprised her. Kushina, Nagato brother, how happy I am. But she was interrupted by a slap from the same man who looked at her angrily while saying the following when he saw the woman who was once his sister. Nagato, shut up Kushina, I'm very disappointed in what you've done so far. Why were you so stupid as to do that to your own son even with the evidence that he wasn't the QB? You wanted to take out all that hatred on a child and on top of everything on his own village. What you did, I really hope you're proud of everything you've achieved. For all the stupid things you've done, he said seriously. Kushina, you think I don't know? You don't know how much I regret all this. I've lost everything I've loved and you don't know how I would like to travel back in time, change everything that has happened. I don't know how to redeem myself. What can I do? She said crying. Ben, you know you can do nothing because true sins cannot be atoned for. In your case what you committed was the anger of the hatred you had for the QB was what blinded you and made you commit a great unforgivable sin. You could stop for a moment and think things through. You had many years to do it but you did not. You lived in a reality where you thought what you did was the right thing and that there would be no consequences until you finally saw the truth which you refused to believe is why you are like this and nothing can be done. You should accept all your sins instead of looking for a way to atone for or justify them. There are things that cannot be repaired. Ruining someone's life for so long is one of those things. So if I were in your place I would only accept my death with a smile and try to wish the best to that person I hurt even if they do not accept it. At least that is a start, he said calmly. Akemi, Ban-kun is right Kushina, you must stop trying to fix something that never existed and just accept reality. Do it for the first time in your life and behave like a real woman who accepts mistakes and doesn't run away from them, she said seriously. Abito, just like you Rin, I know perfectly well that you hide behind those bushes. I am a good censor and I know well that you have been watching us for a long time. You know I loved you because I thought you were a kind, sweet, tender girl who would help whoever needed it even without asking for anything in return, but I was wrong. You fooled me with your double face. When I saw your true face it opened my eyes. All the time I fell in love with a vain, arrogant woman who plays with the feelings of others and makes fun of them behind their backs, and she is just a silly fangirl of an emo with suicidal tendencies, she said sighing. While everyone left the place without saying absolutely anything about it, seeing a Rin come out who comforted Kushina, and she also cried. Both were hurt by losing everything they loved for a simple nonsense. The next day, we see that they are in a place near the academy where around it a quadrilateral was built along with some seats where the spectators could sit while all the people gathered and murmured many things about this that is completely new and other things. In a box above were the 7 Kages of the ninja villages. While they were sitting the respective Hokage stood in front of everyone being seen by everyone and he spoke clearing his voice. Orochimaru. Good afternoon all of you who join us at this moment to the final of the Chunin exams where the worth of each shinobi of their respective village will be demonstrated. As you see, this combat arena was made by my dear nephew almost son Naruto Shimura, and with the help of the Uzumaki seals each and every one of the participants will be teleported to different places where they will fight, and if any of they fall they will be teleported again to the arena, he said, so that the entire audience could applaud him while they waited for the fights that would take place today to be like Reikage. I must say Hokage-san using it as a combat arena is a unique style. I was really impressed with that, he said calmly while looking directly at him while one of the Kages spoke to tell them the following. Anoki, I say the same thing even though I witnessed it. For us using it as a combat arena, we consider it as a way to promote peace between our villages and for the new generations to live well, he said with a smile. Race. I think the same way as Utsutsuki-san. In fact, when I saw him for the first time I didn't fully understand why he did it. I thought he did it to show off. Now I see the opposite, he said seriously. Yugura, that Naruto is someone extremely amazing. In fact, it surprises me that at such a young age he has achieved so many things like that, and for me to say that it represents many things, to tell the truth, he said looking at them. Hashikage, it definitely is. I didn't think something like that was in Konoha. That's amazing, and from what they tell me, a participant doing something like that is simply brilliant. he said while looking at them all. Nagato. Finally, we must begin the first fight that will take place between Sasuke Uchiha of the Leaf Village versus Gil Thunder of the Lightning Village, said so that the aforementioned were teleported to the platform. When that happened, they saw how a pink-haired man with a strange armor was next to a Sasuke who was using a sword, something strange for him since he usually did not use that kind of things, so they went to see how this fight would be. When they were facing each other, they both looked at each other calmly while they were having different thoughts while they were analyzing each other. Gil Thunder. I hope to have a good fight with you, although I doubt it very much since these exams things have been boring. I hope you surprise me, he said calmly while he sees him, and he simply said the following. Sasuke. Oh, but believe me, I'm sure I'll surprise you. I just hope you can fight me, he said while taking out his sword, and is a little surprised since he does recognize her while he decided not to say anything for the moment. When they started, both of them took out their swords and launched several cuts that collided with each other while they only dodged their attacks. The fight was quite hard, both of them clashing their swords, and neither of them seemed to give up on the other until Gil Thunder was stronger, and his sword collided with him while he thought he fell. Gil Thunder, even though your power level is good, you couldn't beat me with the sword. Now I ask you to leave before I hurt you more, if it's not too much trouble, he said seriously while he heard something that left him in shock. A holy knight never gives up. Even if my body is completely destroyed, you must always raise your sword to protect your people, he said, changing his voice as he comes out of the smoke screen with a new outfit and appearance. Band Captain, is that boy there? There is no doubt that magical power that comes from him belongs to Dreyfus. But why do I feel demonic power inside him? Can you explain that to me? He said while watching the fight while looking at the blonde. Naruto. I also had doubts about it. That's when I went to see Chandler about it, and apparently Fraudrin, who was the demon that possessed Dreyfus and who was the one who killed Grand Master Zaratras, and they accused us of being traitors to the kingdom after he died because he felt great affection for Grymore because he raised him as his son. He gave his powers to Dreyfus even after he died, and it seems that in this life they have united into a single being, and as you see, little Gil will not have a chance against him, he said seriously. Sasuke. You've grown a lot, Gil Thunder, and I know it's you, and don't worry, I'm Fraudrin, but at the same time I'm Dreyfus. In this era we have both decided to reincarnate into a single being, and don't worry, I'm not against you nor Meliodas, he said calmly while looking at him. Gil Thunder. I'm glad to see you again, but even though I'm aware of your power, don't think I'm going to back down. I'll show you how strong I've become, he said while taking out his lightning bolts while saying the following. Gil Thunder. Emperor's Hammer, said to launch a powerful lightning slash that ended up destroying most of the arena, while when the smoke dispersed he was seen with some wounds, not serious but painful. Sasuke. Ha 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 ha, that attack was good. I even dare say that it was almost like your father's Zaratras without a doubt. However, I must end this in the simplest way. After this I want to talk to you, he said to take out his sword and with a quick movement say. Sasuke, deadly thrust. He said as he hit his body with his sword while throwing him to the ground, and when he fell he was teleported towards the combat arena while someone speaks. Raikage. That was surprising. I never expected the boy to have more power. Even Gil Thunder was one of our strongest ninjas of the generation. Even so, it didn't take much work to defeat him, he said surprised. Orochimaru. Kakuku. I should not underestimate the strength of his genin Raikage. He certainly put up a great fight, which shows that we have many of them who are stronger even than our own understanding, he said with a smile. Race. And in these fights it doesn't matter if you win or lose, what matters is the display of power and strategy. That's what we're interested in seeing, and that's why I say that those two deserve a good promotion, he said calmly. When the fight ended, the public did not wait and celebrated the battle of both opponents, while those of Konoha, except for those who knew, were surprised to see with their own eyes the great strength of Sasuke while he simply jumped into the combat arena. Ban, what a great battle you gave. It's good to see you again, Dreyfus, or Sasuke as you like to be called now. These reincarnations confuse me a little, he said looking at the aforementioned who stands next to them and says the following. Sasuke, any you tell me Sasuke, that is the name with which I was born in this life and of which I am completely proud. I would stay with you, but I must see Yakumo. I promised him that we would have a date after I finish my fight. See you later, we will talk with Gil Thunder about it, he said to leave the place. Vermal, your fight is almost here, love. You must prepare yourself, even though you know the mediocre level you have. You must be careful. You don't know what kind of trap I'm doing. I don't want anything bad to happen to you, she said worriedly, only to feel him hug her. Naruto, don't worry, dear, none of that is going to happen. Even if that happens, I will take care of her no matter what happens, he said, so that she nodded and kissed her on the lips while she accepted it with affection until they both separated with smiles. Ben, ha 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 ha, it seems that the captain has a cute girl who loves him very much. That makes me very happy that after a long time he can be well, he said until he feels someone kiss him, and it was none other than his beloved redhead. Akemi, don't forget that you have my spoiled thief fox. Remember that you have me, hee, and you know that if you win you will receive a nice prize, she said in a flirtatious tone, while he puts on the same smile, while he says the following. Ben, even if I lose, I will take the prize because I am a thief just like you were, because you stole my heart, and I also want to steal you so that you are mine forever and no one takes you away from me, he said with a smile. Akemi, and so it will be, my little fox, never doubt it, we will make a beautiful family, you and I together, she said as she lay down on the boy's lap while he caressed the beautiful red hair that he loved so much. Already at the moment that the announcement of the next fight was given, many of those who witnessed the power of the blonde demon thought that she was going to defeat him. Other ignorant people who only thought that she was a Namikaze thought that she was going to win, so bets were made on it. On the other hand, the former Hokage Minato Namikaze along with his wife, the former Uzumaki, were both extremely worried about their daughter because they know that she has no chance against the Shimura and only prayed to any god that she does not kill her, while the blonde's acquaintances knew perfectly well what was going to happen in this fight. At the moment in which these appeared in the combat arena, the blonde with a dark mark on his forehead maintained his characteristic stoic gaze, while the blue-eyed blonde was as always with her arrogant gaze. Kurosaki, I hope you're ready to suffer this day. I will show all the results of all my training and I will pay for all the beatings I've received. Now it's your turn to receive. Did you hear me? He said arrogantly. Naruto, you use your arrogance to hide the fact that you know what the outcome of this fight will be, not to mention that I can feel your fear and all the desperation you tried to hide with an arrogance that you are not even capable of backing up, he said, bored. Without waiting any longer, she launched herself using her power of ice and threw several kunais made of pure solid ice that went straight towards the blonde like a bunch of sharp needles, while she thought that with that she was going to defeat him. But this one with a completely bored look dodged them, almost seeming like he was dancing, making her desperate, while after many moments he ended up getting tired of using his power. Naruto, that's all, you were supposed to make me suffer compared to the beatings I received since I was little. This is just a joke. Even a civilian with a knife would have hurt me more than you did, he said, yawning, causing the aforementioned to be filled with such uncontrollable anger that when she tried to do something she was unable to move, and she only saw how she was trembling while saying the following. Kurosaki, what's happening? Why every time I try to attack you I'm suddenly unable to move? Are you cheating or do you need to do it to beat me? She said angrily, trying to move without any success. Naruto, accusing me of being a cheater. What an original lie to disqualify me, but I will answer your question. It is simple. Anyone in front of me who feels hatred in their heart will not be able to hurt their opponents and all their power. This darkness style ability is quite useful. I also have 3 other very powerful ones that if used would cause the fight to end quickly, and that is not what I am looking for, he said calmly while looking at her. Kurosaki, so that's why, damn you. How did I dare you? Just let me free from that silly power, and you'll see, he said, trying to move until suddenly he feels that he can move, and when he was going to say something the blonde demon speaks, saying the following. Naruto, it's not worth using my ability because if I used it it would be so easy to defeat you, so I'll deactivate it. Now I want you to use all your power, let's see what you can do. Don't worry, I won't dodge it, so go ahead and attack, little one, he said calmly. Kurosaki, ha 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 ha, you are an idiot. Now I'm going to kill you for having ruined my perfect life. You're going to pay dearly, idiot. Did you hear me? He screamed while generating a lot of ice, and it says the following. When he said that from the ground he released several pillars of ice so strong while these hit the blonde, who as he said remained still, while a large smoke screen was created by the impact while this was already thought. Kurosaki, I finally killed him, ha 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 ha, I did it, I killed my wretched brother. That's what happens to you for not obeying your master. I hope you rot in hell, she shouted happily and arrogantly while everything remained in a great silence. Until everything was dispersed, they saw how it was intact without a scratch. The worst of all was that it disappeared, which completely confused those present until they heard how the arrogant blonde was hit by someone who threw her to the floor while he said the following. Naruto, what a shame, I thought you could hurt my clone, but I see that not. Very disappointing. However, it is time to leave all this farce and it is time to reveal your little secret, he said while stepping on her, causing her to scream in pain. Making many not understand when they heard the words of the blonde until they saw how he took something out of the girl's sleeve while he spoke, while analyzing it carefully. Naruto, during the battles in which I have observed you, it always seemed strange to me that you always use your ice power. It took you around 10 minutes to use it again. Another thing that I saw was that one day while I was spying on your training, I saw how you checked your chakra natures. You only have fire and earth natures, and to create ice you need the water and wind natures. That was what Haku told me, who has the ice Kekii Genkai, and this is the explanation, he said to show a device. Naruto, 8 years ago I met a scientist who was practicing on a prototype to create a device for people who don't have chakra to use to manipulate natures. However, he told me that a more advanced device that allows the wearer to shoot ice attacks was stolen. Now this confirms it, you stole the device. Since then you have boasted of a power that doesn't even exist, he said seriously. Everyone present who was watching was completely surprised, while after their surprise the people now looked at the girl in a bad way, knowing that she cheated from the beginning. Reikage. That's true what Hokage-san says, he said, looking at Orochimaru, who didn't respond, while after a moment an Anbu gives him a document that he sees and is going to show it to him, while he says the following. Orochimaru, I found it 8 years ago before my mandate, a scientist recognized by me, being that he came with me to show me his devices. We were giving an interview where he was going to show me the prototypes of the ninja weapons and know if Konoha wanted to buy them. Unfortunately, it was not achieved because all of them were destroyed and it was not known who did it. Because of that he left. He felt bad for what he worked so hard to leave. What if I do not expect to see him again, and only knowing that she obtained it, it is necessary to say that she was responsible for destroying it. A very serious crime, since those devices would have helped many people or civilians who cannot defend themselves or do not have chakra, he said seriously. Hashikage, if that's true then she did it when she was so little, and since she was the daughter of the former Hokage then she was able to get away with it, and she's been cheating since before she became a ninja, he said angrily. Nagato, what a despicable act, and being a little girl she did it in order to obtain recognition of a power that is not even hers in itself. So this is more than unheard of, he said angrily while looking at them. Enko, I understand that was her big secret from the beginning. She cheated in everything, and from what I see Naruto was aware of it before, and he could have said it to show the evidence. I suppose he wanted to do it in front of everyone to reveal to the trash that he really is, she said seriously while observing everything. Kurosaki, give that back. It's my power. It's mine. Give it to me. Only I should have it, and no one else. Me, the shinobi goddess, said, acting like a little girl who had her toy taken away only to see how this one took it and destroyed it as if it were nothing. Naruto, that was a fake power, and you have never trained anything in your entire life just to have a gifted power that does not even require much training to obtain it. But now I will show you the difference between fake power and real power made with effort, he said coldly. At the moment of mentioning those words he raised his hand while a large amount of solar power fused with the power of darkness was generated in his hand, which caused a powerful one that left the girl in a serious state, who had tremendous burns all over her body where she suffers indescribable pain and still feels a horrible heat in her body. Naruto, what's happening? That's all, and I only used a little of that attack. It's really unfortunate, and you didn't think you were going to hurt me. I'm sorry, but you have committed many crimes and this day you will die, he said with a dead voice. Orochimaru, people of all the villages and towns who see us, Kurosaki Namikaze has been a disgrace to our village, not only for pretending a power that is not his, but it has also been seen that he used said power with the objectives of hurt his own people to increase his pride and superiority, and in these moments we will show that this kind of people are worse than scum, so they will suffer the consequences of their actions, shouted so that the entire stadium remained silent, many understanding and completely accepting all this, although other people did not, and these were the girl's parents. The first to do something was the blonde, who tried to throw a kunai to teleport, and stop this being blocked by the seal, while he tried to do it many times without much success while they watched the scene until someone said the following. Danzo, there's no point in doing it. No one can stop it unless the Hokage or I or the Uzumakis decide it, and your daughter's destiny is more than marked after what she has done. She must pay, he said, seeing how she still keeps trying without achieving anything. Minato, damn you, all this is your fault. Danzo, first you turned my son into this, and now you want to kill me. But he was interrupted by a blow that made him fall to the ground, being that it was his former student who looked at him with pure disgust. Obito, until when are you going to stop blaming others for your own mistakes? Minato, all this that happens every time could have been easily avoided if it hadn't been for your stupidity, and if you didn't listen. Well, your daughter committed many crimes, and yet you defend her. It is precisely your attitude of pampering her all the time that led her to do all this, he said seriously. Naruto, you know I almost feel sorry for you seeing your condition. Look, all shinobis of Konoha, here you have the heroine that you praised so much, and that you treated as if she were a goddess. Observe how your supposed savior is suffering. What's happening to you? Are you supposed to be the next savior of the ninja world? Tell me something, shinobi goddess. Why don't you move? Or are you perhaps generating suspense? Let me help you with that to improve the atmosphere, he said while stepping on her, and she only screamed in pain. The Konoha shinobis did all they could to clench their fists as they listened to the young Namikaze suffer because of what was once her blood brother, who was now a demon in every sense of the word, and her screams surrounded the entire stadium, and absolutely no one was able to intervene. Naruto, it's time to end all this once and for all. As I told you a long time ago, Minato Namikaze and Kushina Namikaze, I told you that your sins would never be forgiven and that you would see those you love die by my hands. It's time to fulfill that promise, starting with your supposed miracle, he said with a dead voice. Naruto, Rebellion Hangakuken, Riberian, lit. Swords of Rebellion, said the blonde, who took out many swords that radiated a lot of power with them. He was nailing in his hands in a slow way so that his suffering could be heard, first his legs then both arms. Kurosaki, please stop, do it hurts, she said weakly while she feels like the swords are stuck in her body without being able to move. Naruto, where have I seen that scene before? Oh, of course, it was exactly what I was saying to each and every one of you when you mistreated me, just like you were the one orchestrating all of this, and while I suffered, everyone around me celebrated listening to me suffer every day, night after night, without having the chance to defend myself, and I just begged someone to kill me and end my suffering. All those things I went through, but absolutely no one helped me. Now I will end your existence. Enjoy help, Kurosaki Namikaze said in a cold voice. Then he stabbed his last sword directly into the girl's heart, while a great scream of pain was heard, which was Kushina's, while when he finished killing her he was teleported away. Everything was left in great silence. No one said absolutely anything, but after a while we saw a Naruto who had a dark look while his girlfriend hugged him, knowing what was happening, the same as his best friend and the rest of his family. Many of its members hugged him, although in the case of being his best friend, he tried to encourage him, which helped a little, but as in every story, there was an idiot who went to throw him out of the arms only for him to say the following. Kushina, how could you have done that to your own sister? I know that maybe she wasn't the best person, but that doesn't give you the right to do it. You've already taken away everything I've loved and my clan. You're a shameless man, you're a wretch, you're a monster, but when she finally realized what she was doing, she covered her mouth, denying what he was going to say. Naruto, I am Kushina, go ahead, let's say it in front of everyone. Why are you stopping? After all, those are the words I have written. In fact, I'm showing it to you so that you can say them yourself, he said to show his chest, and many saw in horror that horrible scar with those words, making her not say anything else while she cried again and was comforted by her husband, who was also like his wife for the loss of his daughter, while the other speaks saying the following. Naruto, what's happening? You won't say that I'm a demon. Well, you're not wrong. If I am, but I was born from the hatred that I've had since I was born. All this hatred that I transformed into power that I now have. Now I'm going to get out of here. I must remove the disgusting blood of that arrogant hitch, he said as he left, being accompanied by his girlfriend. Liza, Kushina, you know very well that she sought her death from the beginning. She was always an arrogant woman who didn't care about anything, just getting what she wants, no matter what it costs or what she has to do to get it, she said, looking at her. Ben, Greed is a feeling of wanting to take things or feeling envious of others and wanting to get all the good things that other people have, regardless of whether or not only you would think of saying all that, even knowing the state of the captain or Naruto as you know him, he said seriously while looking at him. Minato, what are you talking about? What is this state you are talking about? Whoever you are, what are you and why do you say stupid things? He said confused next to his wife who looked at the man who was next to his girlfriend who said the following. Akemi. At the moment Naruto killed Kurosaki for a second Naruto shed tears of blood, some that he hides inside, and although he hid it in all his darkness, a small part of him never wanted things to happen after all, and despite what he did she was his younger sister, and that pain for not having made her change to the point where because of his actions he had to kill her, he still felt it inside, he said looking at them. Natalie. She could have been a good person, but it was because you spoiled her to the point of giving her the mentality that she always deserved everything good, and since you never scolded her when she did something wrong and the people around her never did either, she was never able to understand the value of gratitude. Putting herself in other people's shoes, empathy, camaraderie, solidarity. Having had all those values, all of this could have been avoided, and it wouldn't be the dishonor that it is right now, she said seriously. Chapter 9. The final of the Chunin exams has begun, where they demonstrated many feats. Among them was Sasuke, who faced Gil Thunder during the battle. It was discovered that he was a holy knight Dreyfus and a demon called Fraudrin in one. Thanks to this he had a great advantage in his power, while he managed to defeat his opponent. When they reached the second round, it was between Naruto Shimura against Kurosaki Namikaze. As expected, with all her arrogance in the world, she was confident in this fight, so she launched herself without thinking things through, but the blonde had no problems dodging her attacks during the fight. Naruto revealed the greatest secret of the power of ice, discovering that it was generated from an advanced device in which he used said power created by a scientist who came to Konoha a long time ago. Being considered a crime, he had to pay for it, so Naruto ended up killing her in front of Minato and Kushina, which left them completely devastated, to the point that the former Uzumaki tried to reproach him, saying that she was to blame for all this, since having consented too much caused all this. And now we can see a Naruto who was in his room sitting on the bed and looking at a sword that was not just any sword, it was the same one that he had just stabbed Kurosaki's heart a moment ago. Then he says the following. Naruto, I feel so sorry for how things ended this way. You know you could have been something better, but in the end it was your arrogance that ended up making you miserable. Now it's time for you to have your eternal punishment, he said to take the sword. When he said that, he began to say a chant while speaking the demonic language. When he did so, a soul came out of the sword that split into two pieces that flew to another side, while his girlfriend appeared. Vermal, hello Naruto-kun, tell me at the end what you did with Kurosaki's soul that your sword absorbed when you stabbed it in his heart, he said as he sat next to him while looking at him. Naruto, I was thinking about it. First I thought about taking her to the Shinigami's stomach, but I didn't want to do it because I have nothing against the Shinigami, so with an ability that Galda taught me once I divided her in two. Now she will live eternally in the most horrible nightmares of Minato and Kushina said, sighing. Vermal, listen, I know that deep down you didn't want to kill her, since after all she was your sister, and I know that you hide that little affection that you had for her. It's not wrong to feel it, and I know that it comes from your little self who wanted to be treated well, but listen, no matter what happens I will be there for you, she said to kiss him on the lips with affection. Naruto, thanks Vermal-chan. What is true is that I am afraid of the new things that come, but now I know that no matter what new challenges come in the future, I will fight to protect them all. But above all, protect you, he said, kissing again in even more passionate and hot ways. Lemon skipped. After a while of having Hex for a while, at the end of their romantic moment, they decided to rest for a while. When they returned with the rest in time, since the next fights were being shown. List of finals. 1. Naruto Shimura Leaf Village vs Star Village. 2. Sasuke Uchiha Leaf Village vs Sabaka no Gara Sand Village. 3. Hendrickson Rain Village vs Yujito and I Lightning Village. 4. Ban of the Rock Village vs Sabaka no Temari Sand Village. End of the list of finals. When they finished mentioning them, They said that they were going to have a break where they would rest from the fights while everyone went to their respective friends and companions, and now we are with our protagonist with his friends. Ban, so when the captain and I were drinking so much beer we started playing pranks on King. One of them was having burned his clothes in front of Diane. It was so funny, and it just gave him an erection. Ha 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 ha, he said with a smile while taking a sip. Sasuke. Oh, what times in Britannia so many years ago. Once I saw Griamore dreaming dirty things about Princess Veronica. Ha 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 ha. The worst part is that right at that moment she came to look for him, and when she heard that she thought he was with a woman, and she got so angry that she ended up slapping her. The poor guy was all purple, he said with grace. Gil, although you know how bad it is that things ended up like this, and to think that the one behind all this was King Arthur. When I met him he was a kind person and never discriminated against anyone. Not even if they were of another race, he said sighing. Hendrickson. I know Gil, but remember that it's not his fault. Merlin is responsible for everything that happened because she was the one who gave him the power of chaos, even knowing that it was too much power for someone as young as him. In the end he was corrupted, and from the beginning he showed that he had no control over it, and I doubt very much that she helped him handle it, she said looking at him. Naruto. I also thought I was going to be at peace with Elizabeth and Gelda. Both made their decisions and that led them to how we are now. We can't change it. Anyway, what reminds me is Ban, have you told Akemi about us? He said, observing him. Ban, I had to do it since it's better for him to know before something bad happens, and I don't think it will take long to happen. Obviously at first he didn't believe me, but I showed him my immortality, adding to the truth of the captain's power. He believed me, although he said he was going to tell his sister, and I think she already knows, by the way. Sasuke, what did your girlfriend tell you after seeing your appearance? He said calmly while looking at it. Sasuke. He was very impressed, and he told me that I looked like a character from one of his books, and when I said a phrase from the story he kissed me with so much passion and affectionately called me my knight, so he took it very well. By the way, Gil, Hendrickson already have a partner, you said looking at them. Gil. I don't really doubt that I hurt myself too much after Margaret betrayed me just because I didn't want to take her side, but now I'm leaving that. The Jinchuriki of Two Tails ni Yujito said calmly while seeing them. Hendrickson. I'm also now dating a girl from the Rain Village. I get along well with her even though she's just a civilian. I don't care. I respect her just the way she is, even though I miss her. He said something sad while watching them. Naruto, come on, don't get discouraged. Oh, I know why not. I'd better tell you the story of how I killed that stupid perverted toad and gave him the worst sentence a pervert can have, he said, so everyone pays attention. Flashback 4 weeks ago. We met at the Hokage's house where Danzo and Orochimaru were standing next to them, as well as the blonde and the purple-haired girl who were eating some tea with cookies and enjoying it. Vermal. But what delicious cookies, I have not tried anything like them, they have a delicious flavor. Where did they get them from? I asked while I was eating one of them with a smile while someone spoke. Danzo. I prepared them, they are delicious and they are Karma's favorites because every time he trained it was his reward, and they are truly delicious, he said calmly while looking into their eyes. Orochimaru. Kukuku. It's relaxing to be able to enjoy these moments of peace and family, which reminds me that my daughter Anko was going to come soon. I wonder why she's taking so long, he said, serving the tea. Naruto. If I know her, she must be torturing an idiot who complimented her or insulted her. She may have left him completely traumatized for life. Not for nothing, she was the one who taught me the pleasure of torturing victims, he said seriously. Although suddenly through the window came none other than the Sannin of the Useless, known for being a first-class pervert, and above all having less brains than the goats of the land of Jiraiya bears, who came in and said the following. Jiraiya. Orochimaru. Danzo, now I demand that you remove those seals from Tsunade-chan and Kushina now, he said in a serious and angry tone to see each one of them, and someone spoke saying the following. Danzo, now I understand why your parents abandoned you when you became a genin. They lost hope in you after they realized that you are a perfect idiot. Apart from being the shame of your generation, you only stood out for being a student of the idiot Hiruzen, but you have no potential, or even know the meaning of thinking. You can't do anything once the seal is placed, it is permanent, he said seriously. Jiraiya, you're lying. I know they're lying, just as I know that Karma has been brainwashed to leave his family, and I'm going to free him from that mind control now that I find him, he said in a serious tone as he looks at them. Karma, seriously, you are pathetic. Until when are you going to stop this nonsense that you really care about people? He said in a calm tone while he arrived and observed the white-haired man who said the following. Jiraiya, see, that's what I mean, they brainwashed him. Remember that I was always looking after you. But he was interrupted by the older redhead who said the following. Seeing him already somewhat annoyed, he said the following to him. Karma, you never took care of me. You always went for your investigations, a pervert in need of a hand job because the drunk doesn't love me. You don't care about anything anymore. Why don't you say why you really do this? Short hick, she said mockingly while she sees him. Jiraiya, stupid brat, I'm not going to let you disrespect me now. I'm going to bring you back even if it's by force. I'll do the same with Naruto, and when everything returns to normal Tsunade-chan will want to be my girlfriend, he shouted, trying to hit the redhead. However, at the moment of touching it, a large layer of tornado protects him while he tries to cross it, being completely useless, and as a result he ends up without his hand, causing him to scream in pain. Orochimaru, Kukuku, good job Karma, you cut off the hand with which he pulled his atom. Now he will never be able to do it, although you know, coming to demand something from the Hokage and attacking an innocent child is considered a crime. Naruto-kun, do you think you can take care of it? He said with a smile while looking at him. Naruto, you don't have to say it, you are very loved by that fool Minato, so I think it will destroy him quite a bit to know that his death will end in my own hands, he said with a dead voice while stepping on his neck. Jiraiya, wait, don't kill me please. There is a new prophecy of the old toad that speaks about the rebirth of some ancient demons with unimaginable power. They will have a successor, and this will decide the fate of the world. And we must kill him before he appears. If you help me you will be a hero of all the ninja nations. But he was interrupted when he felt how they stepped on him with more force. Naruto, you are scum. Jiraiya, you have never done anything good in your entire life. You do not care about anyone, and you only think about your own benefit. Even I know that you took advantage of the achievements of the stupid Minato just for that. The boars were interested in you and you had fun with them, and you still want to be with Tsunade even knowing that she had a husband, so much that they had an affair, a son that they abandoned, and all you seek is to take advantage of that silly prophecy in order to obtain the life you always dreamed of in your perverted dreams. But you know something, you arrived late, because I am the successor of those demons, and I will show you a technique that only those of our race can do, he said evilly. The moment he said that, he started speaking in the demonic language, making Jiraiya expel his own soul, and he takes it in his hand, while he looked at it, and then someone speaks. Danzo, tell me what you're going to do with the soul, because I know you won't kill her because that would take away the fun, right? He said, looking at his son, who nodded and said the following. Naruto, it's true, besides these scum don't deserve to be saved by dying. We must give him eternal punishment for which he must suffer for the rest of eternity, and I know exactly what I'm going to do with him, he said with an evil smile to disappear. The moment he said that, this one now appeared. He was in the house of the Akimichi Patriarch, and he was looking for one of his things for a while until he finally found what he was looking for. Naruto, Jiraiya has bothered women by spying and being a pervert all your life. That's why your eternal punishment will be to be a condom. Enjoy your punishment of being bathed in semen, and used by the fat Akimichi, ha 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 ha, he said to put his soul in the object and leave the place. End of flashback from 4 weeks ago. Ban. But what a cruel punishment, Captain, but it is fair, worthy of a demon, although I must say that for people whose sin is lust, it is a good punishment, he said with a smile while everyone nodded. Sasuke, I say the same, and it was better when he used Jiraiya's corpse as a target. In fact, many of the women used it that way, taking the opportunity to dissect it, and today it is the laughingstock of Konoha, he said with a smile. Hendrickson, it was that memory that when I came to Konoha, many women used to spit in his face, hid his private parts, or even some children cleaned the dirt with that body, he said thoughtfully. Gil, well, in the end that old man was right that he was going to be famous, ha 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 ha, which reminds me, I wonder what the girls are doing. You know, they wanted to spend some time chatting and stuff like that, he said thoughtfully. Naruto, we have to give them a chance. We also have to have these moments to have a good time. Which reminds me that we have to drink, but little since the fights still have to continue. But he said, cheers for this meeting, so that they can toast anyway. Meanwhile, with the girls consisting of Alchemy, Yujuto, Vermo, Enko, Natalie Yakumo, who were talking about trivial topics while one of them spoke, saying the following. Akemi, and then Ban took me on a romantic date that was truly beautiful, and at sunset we had our first kiss. It was simply magnificent, she said with a smile while they were talking to each other. Natalie, how cool, Tia. Although you know that I've had a few dates with Obito-kun. In fact, I want to ask him to be my boyfriend, but I don't know if he wants to after what happened. He said something sad while everyone looks at her. Yakumo, hey, you shouldn't let that affect you. Believe me, he will want to. We've seen how he looks at you when you go out. It's the same as when Sasuke asked me to be his girlfriend. It was so sweet since the poor guy was blushing a lot, he said with a smile. Vermal, I simply let myself be carried away by the moment, and we both kissed and only spoke from the heart. That's what you should do. The more you think about it, the more scared you'll be. So when you see him, let yourself go and just tell him what you feel. I know he feels the same. He hides everything behind his serious face, just like Naruto-kun did at the beginning. But he's just as nervous as you, or even worse, he said calmly. Yujito. Gil was a different case since he went straight to the point, although it was noticeable that he was nervous, but in the end I accepted him because he is very special to me. He was the only one apart from B and the Reikage who never saw me as a monster, he said with a smile. Enko. And listen, friend, you must be very careful since Rin is very desperate to recover Obito, especially after Kakashi lowered his reputation for losing the Sharingan, she said seriously, making her realize it. Natalie, I won't let that hitch hurt him again. Okay, I'm going to do it. I'll tell him what I feel and I'll kiss him. I'll give him all the love he should have always had in his life, she said with determination in her voice, making everyone smile. Akemi. That's how it is spoken. For now we have to go with my sister since she has to be waiting for us at the cafe, she said, so that they nodded while they were leaving, being interrupted by someone. Kyomi, I finally found you, damn boyfriend stealer. I'm going to kill you for taking away what is rightfully mine and that you stole from me. Now if you're going to pay for this, she said to jump, but being grabbed by Yujito, who said the following. Yujito, so this is Sasuke's sister who wants to have Naruto just because of a silly spoiled girl whim, right? I thought they were exaggerating. I saw that she didn't say anything to throw her to the floor, while she, all angry, said the following. Enko, you know that what you just did can be considered a crime. It's good that you're not my student since you're just a spoiled, self-interested brat. Everyone is able to notice that, she said angrily while looking at her directly. Kyomi, shut up, I know Naruto-kun loves me. Now I want you to tell me what you did to him because I've seen him smile. He should be dedicating that smile to me because I am the one who is me. But it was interrupted by a slap. Vermal, this show is over. You're just like that Hitch Kurosaki. You're just spoiled and you see everyone as your toy, and only because Naruto-kun never looked at you and because you plan to be unfaithful to him in your so-called relationship because you haven't even kissed him, therefore it doesn't count, and that this is broken didn't work now. You look for him, it's not love, you just want him because you see him as a prize. I truly love him, and he knows it, and his lips taste delicious, and that's something that you will never try, and neither will that Hexy body, he said the last thing in a whisper that only she heard, making her mind break from hearing it. After some time had passed, everyone was now in their respective places and waiting for the next round where the first match was going to take place, while one of the Kages spoke, saying the following. Hashikage, very well, now we are ready for the next fight, which will be Naruto Shimura representing the host village Konoha against one of our best genin from my village, and his name is Asahi Senju, he said, so that everyone was surprised to hear his words and to see how the hooded man took it off and showed his face. Nagato, so Tsunade's lost son, eh? I really didn't think I'd see him. It was a surprise, and from what I see, you have a lot of respect for him, right? He said, observing the man who nodded his head to say. Hashikage, I love him almost like my son since he unmasked the traitor who was going to kill me. He saved us with his power, and he is a hero in our village. He has taught us how to increase our training regimen. He is someone unique, he said with a smile. Anoki, that is very impressive, and I have a feeling that this fight will undoubtedly demonstrate the great power of these two boys, he said while the rest of the Kages nod their heads. Asahi, I hope you are able to give me a good fight and not be complete garbage. Naruto Shimura, or should I call you Captain of the Seven Deadly Sins? The Dragon of Wrath said with a smile as he sees him. Naruto, I say the same. From what I see, you are quite proud, but what can be expected of you, lion of pride? Although now that I know it's about you, I should not hold back, so we are going to fight seriously, he said with a smile. So without saying anything else, you were hitting each other a lot, generating huge shock waves that hit everywhere, making many of those present unable to see you. Even the Kages were not able to see it except for Orochimaru and Danzo, along with Sasuke and his friends, who now that they recognized his movements were sure of something, that this was nothing compared to what was about to approach. Then they saw how Naruto took out his sword and he took out his archer while they were fighting, throwing their swords until Asahi threw a blow with his archer, but it hit, causing him to draw some blood. Naruto, what surprised you? Because I am like Zeldris, Meliodas and Estarossa, and I also have both against physical and magical attacks. Tell me what you think. It made you remember the old times, he said with a smile while looking at him. Asahi, I see. It doesn't surprise me that I feel a little pain. Yes, I am impressive. Although it is something that I have always known, I never stop surprising myself, of course. And since you made me remember the old times, I will respond with a small gift that I am 100% sure will make you remember the old times when we fought, he said with a proud smile. And then, Asahi, now cruel son, Zanka Kunateo, he said while he was now growing, and from his finger he generated a sun from his hands that generated a great heat that was felt throughout the place, while he says to him, Naruto, oh, but what detail you have, Asahi. To see it, it really reminded me of the old times. In that case, I think I should respond the same way as you with an attack that I'm sure will surprise you, he said with a smile. Naruto, Triple Solar Corona Burst, Torapurus Ronabsuto, he said while emanating darkness, and from his hands he carried 3 suns of great power that only made the boy smile, who without thinking through both powers that collided with each other. And when it dispersed, both Naruto and Asahi were seen with some injuries, but they were calm while each of them was observing each other until the blonde spoke, saying the following. Naruto, ha 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 ha, you are so funny. Asahi, although you know I think it's time to stop warming up. What do you think if we use our power, he said with a smile, while he laughs while saying the following. Asahi, I was hoping you would say it honestly. This has been the best warm-up of my entire life. So why don't we show all our power to make us remember the old days when we had our fights, he said, making him nod his head. The moment they said that, Naruto was surrounded by a lot of darkness, and Asahi by a great golden light, that they fought with each other for many to see. That was a great surprise. While someone speaks. Reikage, it's amazing, it's like we're watching Yin and Yang fight right now, and it's simply magnificent, he said, watching as both opposing lights surrounded the entire place in a supernatural way. Yugura, and you say it, I've never seen anything like this in my life. Perhaps what we're going to see is about his true power, he said while observing everything that was about to happen. While someone speaks. Ban, that magical power, there is no doubt that boy is Escaner, and from what I see he is using all the power of sunshine, but this amount is like when it is noon, it is not even greater. How is he doing it? He thought while looking at the trail of power. Karma, so my brother is going to use assault mode. It's surprising that he's done it so far. I have to be careful in case things get complicated. I'm going to put up a light barrier in any case, I thought while looking at the combat arena. When both lights ceased, Naruto was seen first, wrapped in darkness and an evil smile, while giving off a powerful magical power, while next to him was Asahi, who was completely on fire. It seemed as if the sun itself had filled him with pure power. Naruto, it's been a long time since I last used assault mode. From what I remember in our old fights in which we used our 2 strongest states, I beat you once, and you beat me the other time, so this would be the tiebreaker, right? He said with a dark smile as he looks at him. Asahi, that's right, Captain, although in our states it seems that your assault mode is much better than our old combat, but I have still trained and strengthened my great magical power, and I hope you prepare yourself, he said with a proud smile. So both of them now fought in a better way, since their attacks were so powerful to the point where the arena was almost being destroyed if it weren't for the fact that it was reinforced by Danzo's magic, and Orochimaru would have been destroyed a long time ago. While those who knew Naruto and had mistreated him now know that he never showed even a small part of all his great power, which only caused even more fear in the leaders, since they still remembered how some tried to act brave and all that went down the drain when they saw his power and more of the person he was facing, where it seemed that no one gave in. Naruto, Not bad, Asahi, you are the first person I fight like this, but it's time to end all this, so get ready, he said, to carry a lot of darkness, and say the following. Naruto, Daizire, Ikari no Hai Dyasu Ire, lit. Day of Wrath, said to charge a large amount of darkness while it rises to the sky and launches a powerful attack that was aimed at him. However, Asahi was already waiting for him, so he charged a large amount of power directed at his combat archer and rose to the sky while everything became slow until he heard him say the following. Asahi, sacred treasure, reveal yourself, Shinsina Takaramono Anata Jishin o Akaraka and I Suru. He said so that a powerful light was generated from his heart child that ended up illuminating everyone, and both attacks were fighting to see which one was stronger. While the great wave of power ended up reaching the spectators, many were sent flying by the clash of power of both beings with great power, but the strong ones remained and hoped to see a result. In the end, they managed to see both Naruto and Asahi both with many injuries, while they ended up falling to the ground tired, while someone spoke to say, Orochimaru, I declare this fight a Satai. He said so that the entire audience burst into applause to see that great demonstration of power, while everyone applauded both beings who were still injured. But suddenly a light came at great speed and was approaching, where it was seen how someone was approaching, and some voices were heard resonating throughout the place that said the following. We were not mistaken, these were the powers. It seems that you have not lost the captain touch, you are still just as strong, said one of the voices while he was accompanied by 5 other people. The moment they heard those words at great speed, Ban along with Sasuke, Gil, Hendrickson, Vermal along with Danzo, Orochimaru and even Karma stood in front of each and every one of them. Ban, you must have a lot of guts to come here even knowing your condition now, and more for what happened now. Talk about why you came here, he said in a serious tone while looking at each of them. Hey Ban, it's not good that you talk to him like that. You don't know how much I've truly missed you and you respond like that, a small blonde girl said somewhat sadly while he looked at her very coldly. Gil, shut up. I can't believe you have the nerve to say that after what you did to all of us, and something already told us that you had survived after the disaster that you yourselves caused, he said seriously while looking at them. Sasuke, and if we didn't know them, they want to take advantage of the battle that the captain and the Sin of Pride had now, we are not going to allow it, he said, releasing his aura like the rest, and was recognized. Hendrickson, like my friend said, we're not going to let them hurt any of them. They've already been through too much for them to come and ruin their lives in this era, just like ours, he said seriously while looking at them. Asahi, don't worry, we are fine thanks to our power, we are regenerating, and I really can't believe we would see each other like this, he said while still having his magical power activated while he sees them. It's noticeable that you've changed quite a bit, my dear Eskaner, although I suppose that now you have another name, right? I still find you very interesting. How much you've strengthened yourself during this time, said a black-haired woman. I came hoping to see Zell, but it seems he's not there waiting. I can feel him inside him. It seems they have joined into a single being. This is unexpected, but I'm still glad to see him. Now we can make up for lost time. Vermal, over my dead body, Hitch, he already has a girlfriend and it's me, and I'm going to fight you. I won't let anyone hurt him again. Did you understand me, stupid Hitches, he said while in a fighting stance while they look at him. Listen please, we don't want to have fights with any of you, we just want to resolve things again. What's wrong with doing that, said a brunette with pigtails while someone speaks. Naruto, nothing will be the same since what they did to us 3,000 years ago. I didn't think this would happen, but since you can tell me what they are looking for here, Diane, King, Gelda, Merlin, Elaine, and above all your cursed goddess Elizabeth, said, observing the 6 present. Chapter X. The grand final of the Chunin exams was taking place, and as you may remember, after Kurosaki died, many believed that it was only that. However, it was just the tip of the iceberg, since Naruto had trapped her soul in the same sword with which he stabbed her in the heart, and he decided that she would be condemned to live in Minato and Kushina's worst nightmares for eternity. At the same time, there was going to be a fight between Naruto and a ninja from the Star Village who openly presented himself as Asahi Senju, the bastard son of Tsunade Senju, and the deceased Jiraiya the Toad Sannin. And if that were not enough, he is in fact the reincarnation of one of the 7 deadly sins, the Lion of Pride Eskaner. Because of this, both had an intense battle, both showing greater strength than their successors while they fought, which was more of a reunion in their own style. Both decided to release their greatest powers, with Naruto activating Asahi's assault mode while Asahi managed to use the one. Since in their battles they had both won, this was going to be the tiebreaker, both demonstrating a great amount of power, colliding their fists with each other, ending in a tie. But suddenly a light came at great speed and was approaching where it was seen how someone was approaching, and some voices were heard resonating throughout the place that said the following. We were not mistaken, these were the powers. It seems that you have not lost the captain touch. You are still just as strong, said one of the voices while he was accompanied by 5 other people. The moment they heard those words at great speed, Ban along with Sasuke, Gil, Hendrickson, Vermal along with Danzo, Orochimaru and even Karma stood in front of each and every one of them. Ban, you must have a lot of guts to come here even knowing your condition now and more for what happened now. Talk about why you came here, he said in a serious tone while looking at each of them. Hey Ban, it's not good that you talk to him like that. You don't know how much I've truly missed you and you respond like that, a small blonde girl said somewhat sadly while he looked at her very coldly. Gil, shut up. I can't believe you have the nerve to say that after what you did to all of us, and something already told us that you had survived after the disaster that you yourselves caused, he said seriously while looking at them. Sasuke, and if we didn't know them, they want to take advantage of the battle that the captain and the Sin of Pride had now. We are not going to allow it, he said, releasing his aura like the rest and was recognized. Hendrickson, like my friend said, we're not going to let them hurt any of them. They've already been through too much for them to come and ruin their lives in this era, just like ours, he said seriously while looking at them. Asahi, don't worry, we are fine thanks to our power, we are regenerating and I really can't believe we would see each other like this, he said while still having his magical power activated while he sees them. It's noticeable that you've changed quite a bit, my dear Askaner, although I suppose that now you have another name, right? I still find you very interesting. How much you've strengthened yourself during this time, said a black-haired woman. I came hoping to see Zel, but it seems he's not there waiting. I can feel him inside him. It seems they have joined into a single being. This is unexpected, but I'm still glad to see him. Now we can make up for lost time. Vermal, over my dead body, Hitch, he already has a girlfriend and it's me and I'm going to fight you. I won't let anyone hurt him again. Did you understand me, stupid Hitches, he said while in a fighting stance while they looked at him. Listen please, we don't want to have fights with any of you, we just want to resolve things again. What's wrong with doing that, said a brunette with pigtails while someone speaks. Naruto, nothing will be the same since what they did to us 3,000 years ago. I didn't think this would happen, but since you can tell me what they are looking for here, Diane, King, Gelda, Merlin, Elaine and above all your cursed goddess, Elizabeth said, observing the 6 present. Elizabeth, listen, I know that right now you are Meliodas, Zeldris and Male. That's why listen, we didn't come here to fight, we want to resolve things as they were before. Merlin said that there is a way for everything to return to normal, and for us to return together, she said seriously. Danzo, damn goddess, I should have killed you at the moment I could. From the beginning I saw that you were just playing with the feelings of the young master, Naruto said angrily, raising his internal demon power. Orochimaru, just like that foolish daughter of Belialuim, we know your whole plan, brat. We know that a part of chaos still lives and you want to use it. You can lie to these fools, but it is more than obvious that you are looking for your convenience. Well, we will not allow it, he said seriously, raising his demon power. Merlin, fascinating, I never thought G. Chandler and Cusack could survive, and I'm even more surprised that you know about the chaos side, but believe me, it's not my wish to use you as you say I do, she said calmly. Ban, that's very funny coming from the woman who used us all to fulfill her whim of wanting to give Arthur the power of chaos, and then on top of that, it was because of that silly dream of bringing a power that can't be controlled that she brought all this, he said angrily. Gil, and how stupid do they have to be to not realize that Merlin only wants to bring something for his own benefit? He did it once, and he tells us that he won't do it again. The fact that they do this only shows how hypocritical they are, he said looking at them. King, listen, I know that many of you don't trust any of us, and we understand why. I know that we had differences because of what happened, but if Merlin's plan works, we can return everything to how it was before, he said seriously. Hendrickson, You don't understand, King. Chaos doesn't work like that. Before all this happened, I had the opportunity to know in depth how it works. It is true that it can create, but to do so something is destroyed in exchange, just like the yin and the yang we saw when Arthur executed him. He destroyed everything we knew. In exchange, he created something new. Many lives were erased because of that, and they want to repeat it. That will not bring back the fairies, giants, goddesses, demons, humans, or vampires that existed. They only create new ones in exchange for eliminating other living beings. That's what they want, he said, to see how this one would shut up. Sasuke. And it was because of his audacity to not believe in Naruto and for believing in something as stupid as the Demon King taking control of his mind that this happened, or of us who did believe in him and did not betray him, and it was because of his stupidity that made us be like this now, and we will not let them kill these lives again, for that they will have to go over us, and it is not convenient for them, he said, using his demon power. Diane, you think so? I can see that you are Dreyfus and a demon, which seems strange to me, but it doesn't matter if you are not able to understand. We will have to fight. It doesn't matter that apart from that we are stronger than you, he said, cracking his fists. Merlin, Asahi, right? If I'm not mistaken, that's your new name. Tell me which side you're on. If you're on our side, maybe I'll check you out, since even that new look of yours gives off a very attractive aura for me, he said, licking his lips. Asahi, although I have memories of how you experimented on me, and not precisely of my power but in what parts one can use in those moments when we were alone, and you excused yourself with that you wanted to experiment what mating is that humans use, and you liked it more than I thought. I am with the captain since I loved you until the end, and I defended you, but now I have a family which is the Star Village, and just like with you I will defend you from any threat that includes Lady Merlin, although it does not take away the fact that we can do those internal and external experiments, he said, looking at her, and the last thing he said in a whisper that the woman heard and made her give a mischievous smile. Naruto. Besides, don't think I didn't notice, King. Your magical power is somewhat weak because the fairy forest no longer exists, and you could barely use 50% of your power, but you will never be able to use all your power, just as I know that Gowther does not exist. Maybe he is a doll, but he was created through the power of a demon. That is why he no longer has his life. The same goes for you, Gelda. Your power was obtained through my blood that you need, and now it is not there. And Merlin, you no longer have the blessings of the Demon King and the Supreme Deity for the same reason that chaos erased them forever, and even though Elizabeth is better, it does not mean that you have not recovered yet. On the other hand, we are at 100%. Neither of us has a chance now, he said seriously. Gelda, Naru-kun, please forgive us for everything that happened. In fact, we can even share you so that things are okay between Elizabeth and me, she said with some tears in her eyes as she sees him. Vermal. Well, I'm sorry, Vampire Hitch, but he already has a girlfriend, and it's me, unlike both of them, who decided to push him away even after everything he sacrificed for them to be happy. I do love him, and I will be with him even if the rest of the world turns against him. Elaine, this is the last straw. How could you possibly be unfaithful to Elizabeth and Gelda even after what they sacrificed for you? She said angrily, only to receive a blow from none other than Ban, which made him go into shock. Ban, respect my friend's girlfriend, and what things have Elizabeth or Gelda done for him? Nothing. In return, the captain betrayed his race. He was suffering for 3,000 years, all in order to live happily with them too, despite being insulted, and I paid him back in the worst way. The same goes for you. I gave my life for you. I rebuilt the fairy tree for you. I endured living a sad life being immortal. I did everything possible to revive you, even wanting to kill my best friend. I fought with the Demon King for you, and all so that you betray me as if nothing of what we lived happened, and on top of that you were unfaithful to me and you told me to my face. But you know, I thank you now. I have a girlfriend who is more beautiful than you with a better body, and that if she is a woman who truly loves me, he said, so that she would cry to hear his words. Something that angered King a lot, who without thinking twice used the holy spear to try to attack Ban, even though it was Asahi who received the attack, even though it didn't even make a single scratch. Asahi, you know something, King? I always wanted to check the range of your spear, and as I suspected from the beginning, it is nothing compared to my great power. Ha 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 ha, he said, so that with his fingers he could destroy it completely. King, how is it possible that you are using the power of sunshine now? We feel that you use the power of the one. How is it that your magical power has not diminished even a little? He said, surprised. Asahi, thanks to living in this era, I now generate another energy that is chakra, which although it is inferior to magic, I am now able to transform my chakra into sunshine magic, and with it I can use its power for much longer, he said, to generate more heat. Naruto, listen very carefully to what I will tell you out of respect for those who were once part of my life. You have 3 seconds to leave, never return to the shinobi nations, and I will stay with Vermilchan and do what you did 3,000 years ago and forget about all of us. Do it before my patience runs out, he said seriously. Just as he said that, everything went completely silent. However, something unexpected was that both Gelda and Elizabeth lunged at Vermil, while both said the following. Gelda/Elizabeth, damn demon, we won't let you take our man from us, the two said, about to attack them, but she wasn't able to dodge it, and was already about to hit her. But Naruto was already expecting an action like that from both women. Using his darkness, he made the two fall to the floor while a pressure of darkness hit them both completely, only for someone to say, Diane, no, Elizabeth. Gelda, she said, desperately trying to help her friends. However, she was still hit by Naruto's power while someone speaks, being that it was none other than the protagonist. Naruto, this is between them and me, and this will happen to anyone who messes with my beloved, and unless they want to suffer the same punishment as them, it would be better if they didn't do anything more stupid and didn't get involved in this matter. It's clear, he said with a dead and cold voice. King, his assault mode is even more powerful than Meliodas's. Even my body froze completely from feeling all that magical power, I thought as I looked at the scene, and got angry at the helplessness of not being able to help Diane. Danzo, that is a great power. Show them all that no one messes with what they love the most. Something worthy of a true demon king. I can't hold back my tears of emotion, he said, very happy to see the scene. Orochimaru, Kukuku, I say the same. Even that silly vampire is suffering for having betrayed the love that young Naruto placed in her, and she paid him back in the best way, he said with a smile while looking at all this, and had some tears of happiness. Vermil, Naruto-kun, I understand that you're enjoying this, but you should stop. Besides, it's not worth it for you to kill these hitches. You don't even deserve to be paid attention to, he said, so that he sighed while he undid his power. The moment she did it, both of them got up very hurt along with Diane, who King quickly healed. While that was happening, Elizabeth got up while she had her gaze lowered and charged a lot of goddess power in her hand to give a big slap to the blonde who received it. However, she hoped that the blow would at least knock him to the ground like the last time she slapped him. The first time she did it, but it didn't even scratch him, while he spoke only to tell her the following. Naruto, did you really think that was going to even hurt me? As you know, now I'm Meliodas, Zeldris and male, so I'm half demon, half archangel, so I'm completely immune to light attacks and none of them hurt me. Stupid, he said, slapping her and sending her flying with the rest. Gelda, wait, don't hurt Elizabeth anymore. Of all people, she is the one who loves you the most in all time. If you want, don't give me a chance, but please give it to her, she said pleadingly. Naruto, do you think I have all the memories of Meliodas and Zeldris along with their feelings? But I also have males, and that is the secret mission that the Supreme Deity entrusted to Elizabeth, and that was that she gave you the best brainwashing power with the objective of deceiving the firstborn of the Demon King, pretending to be his ally to stab him and kill him the moment they fell in love. And I know you said that you used it to turn him against the demon race, and you told Male and claimed that you liked him and that you would never fall in love with the demon. You deceived both of them, and you only received the punishment for defending Dariari, he said, to the surprise of everyone present. Serial, that's true, everything this secret says. Only Ludiciel, Tarmiel and I knew, and I told Male about it when he saw them kissing. He thought they loved each other, but look how you manipulated the two of them, and you disgust me, Elizabeth said with clear disgust as she manifested in spirit. Naruto, you made me believe for 3,000 years that you loved me when you only used me from the beginning. Despite everything, I don't regret everything we went through, because now I am who I am and I have a wonderful girlfriend. Now you better leave or I'll kill you, he said angrily. Although later than ever they saw how Elizabeth changed clothes using the same more revealing clothes while she was slowly approaching the blonde, who looked at him with more seriousness, knowing what the girl was going to do. Elizabeth, come on Naruto-kun, don't be mean, or maybe you don't remember that I was your first kiss and the beautiful moments we spent together. In fact, if you go with us, you can touch my breasts even if we're in public. That and other things, yes, she said in a seductive tone. Gelda, you can do whatever you want with me, dear. Why don't you leave that fool? She doesn't know you like I've known you for a long time. You've barely known her for a long time and I know her power. She also has the mental control that the wizard Gelda taught her. That's why she could be using you in the same way. Why don't you come with us? She said, and then created a field of darkness that only surrounded them. When that happened, she saw how dark the place was and saw how there was a bed that she supposes was a product of this field of darkness created by the vampire, only to see how she and Elizabeth were wearing bunny costumes. Elizabeth/Gelda, hello love, today you are going to receive special service from us. Just sit and enjoy the view. You can do everything you want to us in this place, the two said, making hexy poses and giving him a good view of the breasts of the two, thinking that it was going to fall, but Naruto, seriously trying to use the same thing as when we first met, and using the magical power that the Supreme Deity gave you, Elizabeth, and you, Gelda, just like how low you have fallen to try to use your bodies to seduce me, that maybe I just think I'm a pervert that they can use at will. Well, I'm sorry, but it doesn't work with me anymore, remember? I'm half Archangel and I'm much stronger, he said, to release a lot of darkness to the point that he ended up destroying the whole place and sending the two women flying. And something that hurt them but above all hit the pride of both Elizabeth and Gelda was seeing how Vermo hugged him, making her breasts collide with his face, and to top it off he enjoyed it, and on top of that she noticed how he looked at them, so she put on a smile. Naruto, besides, the saddest part of all this was that I never gave you my first time, not because I didn't find them attractive, but because Elizabeth, since you were reincarnated all the time, didn't want to abuse your innocence that you had as a human, and with Gelda, because she was sealed for a long time. When what happened with Arthur was going to happen, but you know what was better for me since I gave it to the one who truly loves me, he said, sticking closer to the woman's breasts, who hugged him and looked at both women. Vermo, as you heard, I had Hex with my Narukuin, and I must say that you missed out on a lot of what he offers, and because of your stupidity now he is only mine and no one else's, he said to hug him and put on a mocking smile. Merlin, Elizabeth, Gelda, don't fall for their games for now. I wanted to check the power of all of you, and now that we are safe we will withdraw, but rest assured that we will see each other very soon, especially you, Asahi-kun. Let's see in another, I will do another inspection of your internal cavities. He said the last thing in a seductive tone that slightly blushed the aforementioned and nodded silently, only to see how he left using teleportation. Hey Asahi, tell me the truth, did you and Merlin do anything more than just look for ways to use sunshine? He said, somewhat surprised, while Asahi was slightly blushing while he responded, saying the following. Asahi, well, it's that once she said that there were other ways to use my magic power, then for some reason I transformed and my pants and my underwear broke, and she said that she put a spell that prevented the bottom part from being destroyed, and when I asked her why she undid it, she wanted to check something, and wow, she did. And to sum it up, since then she loves that experiment, she said, looking away. Hendrickson, okay, I never thought Lady Merlin had that side and so hidden that she had it. Leaving aside that they came, I think we will have to give a very long explanation, he said, observing all those present, both Kages and civilians and shinobis who were staring at them like statues. Sasuke, this will be a big headache to explain, so you don't do stupid things or make the captain angrier than he already is. Although he hides it very well, he said, sighing tiredly while he waited. Time skip 4 hours later. At this moment we meet with everyone at the stadium, who each processed the story they just told, and which explained many things about all of them while someone spoke. Reikage, let's see if I understood. Naruto, Vermo, Danzo, and you Hokage Dano are ancient demons of your race who managed to survive a reset that King Arthur did 3,000 years ago, and who were reincarnated in this era along with Ban and Asahi, who are members of the 7 deadly sins, and your younger brother who is in fact an archangel, Sasuke, and Hendrik are half demon, half human, and those beings that came are the ones who caused this, and now they want to erase everything that exists to return it to how it was before, he said, still surprised and unable to believe it. Danzo, we admit that it is difficult to process, but if it is in fact these are in fact not our original forms at the time we returned to being devils, we trained and now we have new forms, and we wanted to improve and look younger, so he said, to show his new appearances like Orochimaru's. Orochimaru, Kukuku, exactly, we wanted to look younger because we demons can see ourselves as you were. Even if millennia pass we will look the same, and we work hard on these forms. What do you think?" said the pink-haired man while looking at them. Of course the women blushed a lot now seeing the new appearances of both old men who were now models, but none of them realized that a redhead was looking at this with jealousy, who without thinking twice kissed both men on the lips, and who did it was none other than Liza Uzumaki, which made everyone look at her in shock. "Liza, and now why is everyone looking at me that I can't kiss my two boyfriends?" she said as if it were the most natural thing, something that left more than one person stunned to hear her words while someone was talking. How about boyfriends? Then the three of you have a relationship and you hadn't said anything apart. You can't do that, it's not right, she said, scolding her as if she were a little girl, and some of those present had the same thought. "Liza, oh, now you're a mature girl. For many generations among the Uzumakis there would be things like incest or even having a harem. Whether men or women or both, none of them are bothered anymore, and I only love them too," she said unconcerned. "Danzo, it didn't bother us at all when he declared his love for us both. Apart from Orochimaru and I as demons, we were a single being that the Demon King divided into two to take care of the two princes, so technically she is dating one being divided into two, and that's fine," he said calmly. "Race, well, I'm still surprised by this. Now explain your power. It's incredible that before there were races apart from humans and the Bijou," he said in surprise while looking at them. "Yagura, I already knew about it because of an attack by uncontrolled demons. I owe my life to Naruto for that, and yes, it's still hard for me to process it, but once you see them in person, it's not so bad to believe them," he said, looking at them. "Hashikage, Asahi had already told me everything about it. He also showed me his memories through a forbidden technique from our village, and we confirmed everything. That's why he remained hidden for a long time," he said with a smile. "Nagato, hey Naruto, I have a question. If I'm not mistaken, you are half demon, half archangel, and I suppose the dark mark is your demon power. Do you think you could show us your archangel form?" "I say if you want," he said, looking at the aforementioned, who nodded. This generated a powerful light that made everyone unable to see, and when it dispersed, Naruto was seen now having 4 pairs of wings. His eyes were orange with a strange mark, and his clothes were white with golden details. "Naruto, honestly, I don't like using this form that much. It's not that it's not as powerful as the rest. If it doesn't work, I'm a little embarrassed to show it in front of everyone. I hope you like it, he said with a nervous smile, and his innocence was very noticeable. The reaction of many was of clear surprise, but for those of Konoha, they now looked at the boy they mistreated for years, and being that he was now a cruel and ruthless demon, being an angel so pure that he has a face that is not even worth killing a fly. Of course the women were boiling to see how cute he looks until Anko, AWWWWW. "My little brother looks so cute, why did you hide this from your sister?" he shouted while hugging him a lot, and he had trouble breathing while he begged for someone to help him, but Vermo, KYYYYAAA. "Naru-kun, you look as beautiful as an archangel. I want to pamper you a lot, my love," he said so that she would also hug him too much, and now the two women were pushing him against their breasts while he was thinking. "Naruto, I will die in the most macho way possible, and I wanted to kill more Konoha civilians, as I thought with a goatee face while I closed my eyes and spent time enjoying the softness until waiting for his imminent death." While everyone was laughing at the comical scene, no one had realized that a certain Uchiha was completely angry. She was a little but furious to the point of no return, the simple reason being to find out how Naruto acted all the time with them, and she had in mind that the reason why he didn't love her was because he wasn't strong. If before she thought that she would never be at his level, now she knows that he is on a larger power scale, and worse, he is from another race. "Kill me. Curse, 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 damn demons. If it wasn't for them I would still have had my boyfriend with me. It's all their fault. I hate demons. I hate that hitch who stole his purity that belonged to me. I wish to have enough power to claim my property," she screamed angrily while her eyes activated, unlocking the Manjikyu or Sharingan of all the hatred she feels right now for seeing this injustice, according to her. Just as he said that, some shadows appeared and took Kyomi without leaving a single trace. Who kidnapped her? What are the traitors planning? Will Asahi continue to have that relationship with Merlin? All those doubts in the next chapter. Chapter 11. As you all remember in the previous chapter of this great story that you love so much, the final of the Chunin exams was where during the fights there were quite surprising and interesting cases. One of them was Sasuke Uchiha, who during his fight against Gil Thunder he showed that he was the reincarnation of one of the Holy Knights Dreyfus, but that was not the surprising part, but that he was also the reincarnation of one of the ancient Ten Commandments. Further demonstrating both powers was that he managed to grant him as the winner of the fight. After that fight many things happened. The most notable was Naruto telling his supposed sister, where he revealed that all the time her famous ice ability, which was the only thing that made her stand out, was created through a device that grants said power, being considered a crime. She was sent to be eliminated, and it was the blonde demon himself who did it, and it was a slow and painful death that without knowing Naruto had trapped her soul in the same sword with which he stuck it in her heart, and he decided that she was condemned to live in the worst nightmares of Minato and Kushina for eternity. At the same time there was going to be a fight between Naruto and a ninja from the Star Village, being that he openly presented himself as Asahi Senju, the bastard son of Tsunade Senju, and the deceased Jiraiya the Toad Sannin, and if that were not enough, he is in fact the reincarnation of one of the 7 deadly sins, the Lion of Pride Escaner. Because of this, both had an intense battle, both showing to have greater strength than their successors while they fought, which was more of a reunion in their style. Both decided to release their greatest powers, being that Naruto activated the assault mode while Asahi managed to use the one, being that in their battles both had won. This was going to make the tiebreaker, the two demonstrating a great amount of power colliding their fists to each other, ending in a tie. When everything ended in the end, 6 people arrived who were not welcomed by anyone, since it was their fault that all the races were erased. This was not Dian the Serpent of Envy, King the Bear of Sloth, the Vampire Gelda, Merlin the Boar of Gluttony, Elaine the former guardian of the Sacred Tree, and above all the Goddess Elizabeth, who when they arrived were so hypocritical in wanting to talk to them and say that they can fix everything using the small part of chaos that remained, being that by doing so it would erase every person on the planet and turn again into giants, fairies, demons, goddesses, and vampires, these of course not accepting and recriminating Merlin, who only used them. I forgot to say that the Vampire Gelda along with the Goddess Elizabeth wanted to find a way for him to get back with him, being that now they know that he has a girlfriend, and confessing that in the past Elizabeth had the secret mission that the Supreme Deity entrusted to Elizabeth, and that was that she gave you the best brainwashing power with the objective of deceiving the firstborn of the Demon King, pretending to be his ally to stab him and kill him at the moment they fell in love. And I know you said that you used it to put him against the demon race, and he also deceived Male, and that he claimed that he would never like a being as horrendous as a demon, deceived them both. These, upon seeing that I arrived to discover, did everything possible for them to be with him from attacking Vermal, being that Naruto, still using the assault mode, used his strength to throw them to the ground, and thinking that with that he achieved it, they tried to seduce him, being completely useless. But, and what without a doubt struck them in the pride both in Elizabeth as in Gelda was seeing how Vermal hugs him, making her breasts collide with his face, and to top it off he enjoyed it, and on top of that she noticed how he looked at them, so she put on a smile, and they were dead with jealousy to see how her beloved was between the breasts of another. Because none of them were going to achieve anything, they decided to withdraw due to so much commotion that there was. They had to tell the 6 great ninja nations of what they were. Absolutely everything was a great impact on their minds to know all that, and they asked Naruto to use his Archangel Form, and that was the biggest commotion of all but those of Konoha, being that the terror of the villagers and the reason for their nightmares now was seen so noble and innocent. After everything ended, they resumed the Chunin exams, being that when everything was over the leaders retired to their villages, the same as the Rain village said goodbye to Nagato, although both Obito and Fugaku and Asahi decided to stay in Konoha for a while they solved their personal problems. Now we can see one morning at 5 in the morning how Naruto was waking up, who had a big migraine because he had stayed out drinking with Ban, Asahi, Sasuke along with Obito and Fugaku. And he was just waking up, although when he did he realized that he was naked and his girlfriend Vermal was also lying naked on top of him, while he was thinking, Naruto, God, I think we went too far with the party that we were now jounin', ha ha ha. It ended in a tie. Ban and Sasuke and Fugaku didn't even last, although Obito did resist. But what about Asahi? I don't know where he went after the drunkenness we had yesterday. He thought while he feels some very familiar lips that he accepts while someone speaks. Vermal, Very good morning, my love. If you were a beast yesterday after the party we had, and how crazy it was, even though from what I notice you are more eager than before, and you don't know how it excites me, he says with a mischievous smile, while he makes a chibi face while he tells him the following. Naruto, Sate, it seems that my beautiful demon wants to be pampered a little more since it is still very early. What do you think if we continue with what we were doing for a while? Besides, I love your friends. I would eat them all day, he said while groping and sucking the girl's breasts, causing some moans. Vermal, Fufufu Narukun, you are a pervert, but you are my spoiled pervert, and I really like to pamper you like my baby, so go ahead, play with them. They need you a lot, but it is not fair that only I enjoy, he said with a smile, while he began to masturbate him. What happened was what we all know, that lasted all morning until 10 in the morning. When they finished their great love session, he went to buy some food for his beloved. During the way he met Ban and Sasuke. They went to talk. Sasuke, hey guys, there's something you should know. After the drunkenness we had, I returned home with my father. Then when I went to see Yakumo-chan, his appearance changed, and not only that, I felt a strange power that seems like a mixture of several races. Do you know what that means? He said seriously. Ben, now I understand why Merlin was staring at her when we were arguing. I could realize, and if what you say is true, then chaos is inside Yakumo, then she is a target for them, he said seriously while looking at him. Naruto, and even if it's only a very small part, we can't let her be corrupted like poor Arthur was. We must help her using the ability with the Uzumaki seals added to the knowledge of magic that we have. We will make a seal that prevents the power of chaos from hitting her mind, he said seriously. Sasuke, thanks for this, my friends. Hey, we're almost at the store. They asked me to go get the food. We have to go, he said as they arrived at a store while they paid the bill, although it was little money because of the blonde and they were shopping. Although when they were about to reach their destination, being only a few meters away, they saw how several ninjas and Anbus were in front of our protagonists, who looked at this with great boredom while someone spoke to say the following. Ben, it's seriously an army. Its power level of just 50 is pretty mediocre, and I don't even feel like hitting some punching bags that won't last at all. With just a small hit they'll die, he said, yawning and with a bit of a headache. Shinobi random. Shut up, dirty demons. Now in the name of the third Hokage and the true Yandame Minato Namikaze, we will kill them along with the rest of their race, said one of them, supported by the rest of the idiot shinobis along with the Anbus. Naruto, hey, how discriminatory you are. You should know that only Sasuke and I are demons. As for Ban, he is only immortal. But now that you told me who came up with that stupidity, now we know where we have to go. Fools, Sasuke, you can kill them all, he said, so that he nodded and took out his sword to say. Sasuke, Star Destroyer, he said while charging his sword and launching an attack of light that ended up eliminating the army of Anbus and idiot shinobis, and the curious thing was that it did not leave any destruction thanks to the Uzumaki seals. Ben, ha 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 ha, but how incredible are the Uzumaki seals and what they can do anyway. Let's finish off those idiots once and for all, since I got a little hungry, he said while stretching, and the blonde was doing the same. Without further ado, they walked to a place where they felt the presence of the idiots, who when they found them were in fact in a remote part, being that they were Minato, Hiruzen, Kakashi, who were next to them, surprised by these. Minato, it can't be how they were able to kill so many shinobis in such a short time. They weren't supposed to have much strength after the poison we put in their bottles during the drunkenness they had, he said, surprised and with some fear. Naruto, you can't be more stupid. Do you think that their primitive poisons were going to affect us? We are used to having toxins in our being, which has made us immune. Now this is going to be the day that I kill you forever, Namikaze said seriously. Hiruzen, from the beginning we should have killed you before for thinking you were the QB. Now we know that you are someone worse than that, and for the sake of my village we will not let them be ruled by demons, he said seriously as he gets ready to fight. Ban, wow, old man, it seems you have no heart. You discriminate against anyone who is different from all of you, your authority to the point of ruining Naruto's life for a long time. Because of that I don't think you need this, or yes, he said with a smile showing his heart that the instant he did it he fell to the ground dead. Kakashi, damn, you will pay for killing Hiruzen-sama, shouted Hatake, preparing a Chidori ready, being that he receives a kick from Obito, who arrived using his Kamui while saying the following. Obito, so that's why we couldn't find them, and we felt that increase in chakra. Oh, and by the way, it seems that more ninjas are approaching us. Don't worry guys, I'll take care of them, he said as he rose into the sky observing the shinobis. For the next act, his arm begins to take out many wooden branches that ended up cruelly and mercilessly eliminating each of the shinobis, and he descends slowly and observes the entire panorama of destruction that he had left. Naruto, oh Minato Namikaze, if you had just stayed still and done nothing, perhaps I would have let you die of agony from the nightmares you've had with your wife and that I myself implanted in you, but your stubbornness has left me somewhat surprised. Now I know that it is more satisfying to kill you with my own hands, he said with his mark activated. Minato, be quiet demon, now I know that because of me, seeing you first as a demon ended up transforming you into one, and I must kill you before you cause chaos just as my master Jiraiya said would happen, he said while taking out his kunais. He was about to throw them, but before that happened he ended up spitting blood. The reason he ended up receiving such a strong blow from Naruto that made him shed an excessive amount of blood while he told him the following. Naruto, ha 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 fool, and until now you realize that, and now that you don't have those special kunais without counting that I activate a barrier that prevents you from teleporting, your death is just around the corner, he said with an evil tone. With Obito and Kakashi in their fight. Kakashi, Obito, you don't have to do this fight is not against you. I don't want to hurt you and make Rin cry again, so I ask you to leave, he said, trying to convince his former partner not to do that. Obito, having messed with Naruto involves me since he is like my little brother, and now you just want to kill him because he is from a demonic race, and I will tell you if that hitch fangirl of yours cries I care very little, and I will show you that I am no longer the same idiot that you came to know, he said to make a hand pose. Obito, fire style great fire annihilation jutsu, he said while expelling a large amount of fire from his mouth that although Kakashi tried to stop it with his earth jutsu, it was completely useless. When the smoke completely dispersed, Kakashi was seen with high-degree burns that were in the final stages because that powerful attack left him seriously injured while he walked slowly towards where the Hatake was. Obito, and to think that a long time ago I came to admire you along with that fool Minato. Now I'm glad I didn't become something so horrendous as you call them demons when you should only look in the mirror to see when you tortured Naruto in various ways and you enjoyed each one of those things. You are just a coward, Kakashi, along with your father, who could not accept that he failed to fulfill a mission, that he killed himself, and you wanted that, and you could not see me happy. That was why you became interested in Rin after my death. You wanted to end it with her, but according to you, as a way of honoring me, you wanted to continue in your relationship, and the worst thing is that you left her aside many times and you never gave her a single affection. Even so, that fool was with you, and since you do not care about anything or anyone, why do not I make your first dream come true, he said in a dark tone. To see how his eyes changed to the Rinnegan and released a purple glow at high speed, he ended up piercing Kakashi, who was not able to say a single word, and the last thing he saw before dying was the face of what was once his friend. Obito, I see that the only thing that made you become someone so feared was my Sharingan, and without it you are absolutely nothing. You only managed to copy everyone's techniques thanks to my eye. You were always garbage, Kakashi, and now you will end up forgotten by everyone, he said as he withdrew and burned the body of his former partner. With Naruto and Minato in their fight, Massacre the son of a hitch. You can see how Naruto, who was torturing Minato in many ways, from kicking him, stepping on him, burning a part of his body with his fire, making him scream in pain, which was music to his ears. Naruto, come on Yondaime, I want to hear you suffer more. The more I hear you suffer, the more pleasure it gives me. It gives me great fun. You don't know how long I've waited for this great moment in which I make you suffer, he said with an evil smile while stomping on him. Of course, all this was seen by his wife, who did not want him to kill him while he tried desperately with his little strength to enter that field, his act being completely useless. Naruto, and just as I told you, Kushina, you and your husband, before you die, will see everyone you love dead in front of you. First it was the fool Jiraiya, then your spoiled daughter Kurosaki, the senile old Sarutobi, and finally your obedient student. All of them killed or suffering a fate worse than death, all for their sins. Your anger for the Kyuubi blinded you, along with that of your wife. They mistreated me since my damn birth. Not satisfied with that, they made all these humans torture me every day to the point of becoming a tradition in which they motivated children to make me suffer. The Sannin of not being able to control their lust and greed, that he even lied to you about his silly prophecy. all to obtain a selfish desire. The spoiled Kurosaki, her greed for power added to her arrogance of always wanting the best for herself, forced her to lie all the time, about a power that was not even hers. All those you love are just sinners, but before your death it is time to invite someone else, he said while making some poses, and an explosion comes out of his head. Kurama, I am very happy to be present of your end. Minato, just look at you and think that in the past you became a powerful shinobi that I came to respect a little. Now you are just trash that is not worth anything. Worse, trash can be recycled. On the other hand, you are worth absolutely nothing, he said, observing the blonde. Minato, damn zoo fox, let me get up and I'll he said, but was interrupted by a stomp that went straight to his mouth, courtesy of Naruto, who had a great idea of what to do to him. Naruto, before I die I will tell you that we demons can eat the souls of humans or extract them. When I killed Kurosaki I put them in your nightmares along with Kushina's. In all those times that you saw how they tortured your daughter you were seeing the real one. The same goes for the fool Toad who must now have doubts about his tastes. As for you, you gave me a great idea. Hey Kurama, would you like to devour a soul? He said with a dark smile. Kurama, of course, if I've had a great craving to devour Minato's body, it can be left for dessert. For now, I want to know what his soul tastes like, he said with the same smile, which caused more fear in him. Without further ado, he extracted the blonde's soul and gave it to Kurama, who devoured it like a wild beast, from using his teeth to move it many times until he swallowed it. He did the same with his body, eating it in a vile and bloodthirsty way until only a few pieces remained. Kurama, delicious, I never thought it would taste so good to eat a soulless body, and that white thing had a great flavor. Thanks for the delicacy, Naruto. Now you can summon me whenever you want, I'm in your debt, he said, disappearing in a burst. When everything was over the barrier was dissolved, only to see how an angry Kushina tried to get close to Naruto, being completely impossible because of the commandment of love, and everyone who tried to do something the same could not do absolutely anything. Obito, well, I already helped them. Now I have to see Natalie, and by the way, Rin, she is more of a woman than you and she is my girlfriend, and just yesterday I lost my virginity. Isn't that right, my love? He said while a redhead arrived and kissed him on the lips. Natalie, correct dear, and so you understand Hitch, now he is mine and you know why we don't go to our love nest, she said with a flirtatious smile, and he nodded and they left in the Kamui, leaving a mentally destroyed Rin Noara. After that event, a full month passed since the death of Kakashi, Minato, and Sarutobi. Since that day, many shinobis wanted to attack Naruto, among them were Asuma and Kurenai, but all of them were killed by our protagonists, and many wanted to commit suicide. Among them was Kiba Inozuka, who after seeing the death of his teacher and his partner, killed himself for fear that Naruto would kill him, since the Inozuka leader wanted to complain by making an attempt against the blonde, being avoided by the Hokage Orochimaru. Now we find ourselves in an important event because Naruto, Vermal, Ban, Akemi, Sasuke, Yakumo, who were on the outskirts of the entrance of the village because they were going on a trip for something important. Orochimaru, Kokuku, I hope and that your trip goes very well, especially you Naruto. Enjoy this moment so that everyone knows the world as they truly deserve it, he said calmly while he sees it. Danzo, goodbye Lord Naruto. May everything go well for you, and remember that you will always be my son just as Liza sees you as a mother, the one you can now have, he said with a small smile while he sees him and someone speaks. Liza, correct little Naruto-chan, may your trip go well and you may gather all the information you need to know about the members of your races, she said with a smile while giving him a hug. Enko, goodbye Naruto-chan, I hope you don't forget about me or I'm going to kick your ass. Goodbye sister-in-law. Remember that if he wants to get into trouble, threaten him with his beers and that's it, she said with an innocent smile. Karma, see you later Naruto, and you'll see that when you return I will have become someone extremely strong and I want to challenge you to a fight, he said excitedly, as the blonde ruffled his hair affectionately. Fugaku, goodbye son, I hope your trip goes well. I'm so sorry I didn't tell you I was still alive, but you know I'm completely proud of you, just like your brother and your mother. That you're still looking for your sister, he said with a sigh. Asahi, goodbye to all guys, I hope you get stronger so you can fight me. LOL, I'm just joking, since in a few days I'll return to the Star Village. I've already learned a lot about the Senju, he said with a smile. Yakumo, Asahi, where were you? We haven't seen you in a full month or even more, apart from the fact that we never saw you around the village, and because you wear new pants and a sweater, you don't usually wear long-sleeved clothes," he said, observing the boy who was half nervous. Asahi, ha 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 ha, what happens is that I wanted to try a new look, it suits me well. Besides, I was very busy doing many important things, which reminds me that I have to go since I have to resolve some issues, he said before leaving, more than one person surprised. Naruto. Okay, our mission will be a total of 5 years, looking to see more demons or goddesses have resurrected and bring them with us. The next thing is to find a way to extract the part of chaos that is in Yakumo. For that we will go to the Uzumaki temples to check, and we will be wandering around the whole world, he said, so that everyone nodded. Elsewhere, we can see in a part where Kiyomi was training like crazy and received many obstacles where it was difficult for her, but she was improving, where you can see 2 women who said the following. Elizabeth, very well done, Kiyomi. You will improve in about 3 years or so. You will go little by little using our powers, she said, observing the Uchiha, who simply nodded while saying the following. Kiyomi, so from what they told me, if you two fuse with me, do you think I have enough power for Naruto-kun to be completely ours? She said while taking a breath. Gelda, that's correct, Kiyomi, and we will do it through a ritual, but your body needs to be strong enough to withstand our magical power, and train it in the best way. We depend a lot on you, said seriously. King, we should also find people who want to be our reincarnations because of what Merlin says. It is the only way to recover our magical power to 50% or more. Only with that will we have at least a small chance, he said seriously. Elaine, speaking of Merlin, where is she? We haven't seen her for over a month or more. I wonder what she's been doing all this time, she said thoughtfully while looking at everyone present. We can see in a part further away from where they were a magic field where it was noticeable that it was a bed, where we can see both Merlin and Asahi having hex, this one using his sunshine form that lasted for a while until the two lay down on the bed. Asahi, hey Merlin-chan, do you think they realize that we have these meetings just to have moments, or even that we have a secret date where no one sees us? He said, lying down looking at the black-haired woman who told him the following. Merlin, calm down dear, they won't realize it for a few years I guess, but you don't know how much I regret being the cause of everything that happened, and I was selfish knowing that even Elizabeth played with Meliodas and I never said anything, and sometimes I just want to leave them and go with you and Naruto and the rest, but I know I can't, and I highly doubt they'll accept me since they all hate me, and I don't blame them, she said with her head down. Asahi, you know that I don't care about that. I love you no matter what you've done, and I will find a way for them to accept you anyway. You must show it little by little. We can start by saying that you helped them look for the rest of the demons, goddesses or humans, and you have already done it by not telling them that chaos was in that girl called Yakumo. I promise that when everything is over we will both live in peace, he said with a smile. Merlin, you don't know how much I love you, Asahi-kun. Even in your previous life, I had many feelings for you, but I got carried away by my greed to obtain chaos. So I didn't tell you, and I was aware that you weren't going to have much longer to live, and I fell in love with you more when you gave your life to defeat the Demon King. No matter how selfish I became, you always loved me, and now I won't make the same mistake again, and I want to make a family with you, he said with a smile. So that both of them joined their lips in a soft kiss that showed all the love and affection they had for each other, while their hearts and feelings synchronized in a beautiful harmony. Chapter 12. As everyone will remember the story, Naruto Uzumaki, since he can remember, he was always hated by the people around him because when he was born the Kyuubi, better known as the Bijou of the Nine Tails, the fourth Hokage along with his wife sealed it in him, being this the firstborn, but because at the time of sealing it, because it was whole and he being a newborn baby was going to die, something that the Bijou knew, so he took a little of his chakra to keep them alive. But there was something unforeseen because the Kyuubi's chakra is aggressive. It made the baby attack them until he calmed down. That simple action made them think that he took control of his body, and seeing them with so much disgust that they had the decency to leave him in an orphanage located in the slums of Konoha, being a nameless civilian. But that was with a bad objective, because they revealed his identity to all the villagers of the people in order for them to mistreat him, and blame him for all this. Because of that action, the poor little boy's childhood was always hell. He had to live through a war. Being so small, he suffered from blows, abuse, insults. No one was with him to the point of making it normal to mistreat a child just for believing he was the beast. They even motivated children his age to do it. He thought that his life was going to be like that until his life took a turn when he was trained by 3 beings of great power, being 2 demons and an archangel, and now he had the strength to defend himself. One day he met 2 guys, Danzo and Orochimaru. Both were his allies. They provided him with training, influence, and experience, which was very beneficial for him. During the years he was in the academy, where he was hated by everyone and no one liked him either. But all of that had a purpose. At the time of the graduation, the Kage from other villages along with the Fire Daimyo were invited to come with the purpose of seeing the new generations. When that moment passed, he demonstrated his superiority. Starting that he was the first to arrive and that he exploded a bird in a grotesque way without even touching it, just that small action intimidated everyone present including the Kages. Then he surprised them with his power in ninjutsu and being able to withstand the Tsukuyomi Uchiha among others until a Chunin named Mizuki tied them all up and wanted to free the Kyuubi from Naruto's body. Although nothing happened because it escaped from his body a long time ago, and they didn't even notice, and one way to demonstrate it was by bringing the Kyuubi itself. And it was the Kyuubi himself who mocked the Hokages for not realizing, further revealing that he never controlled Naruto's body, and explaining what happened that night. This revelation was not well received by the Kages since 2 of them treat their Jinchurikis well. When Naruto disappeared, he showed his true fangs and unleashed his demon power towards Mizuki, and showed him no mercy. In the end, he ended up accepting his fate and died, but not before apologizing to him. At that moment, Konoha felt like the worst garbage in the world. Acting hypocritically, the 4th Hokage Minato and his wife Kushina wanted to accuse Danzo and Orochimaru of supposedly kidnapping their son, being avoided by the power of truth, even more so since the aforementioned broke some important rules of Konoha created by the 1st, 2nd Hokage and Mito Uzumaki. Because of that, the daimyo crowned Orochimaru as the new 4th Hokage, in addition to giving Naruto permission to take revenge on the shinobi of Konoha, which he loved a lot. After that, Naruto invited Kages and companions to eat, and they met his younger brother Karma, who admired him a lot, being this his light if we can call him. He was the best brother with him, and he spoiled him a lot. After that, during the part of choosing the teams, the genin were equally hypocritical and wanting to seek his forgiveness, even Kiyomi, who before all were a supposed couple, although they never kissed. This had the objective of telling him that he was unfaithful to her, and making fun of him in his face, being that the shot backfired on her. The reason being that he knew from the beginning he came to confess that he did not feel anything for her, and that it was just an experiment that failed, and when it was seen that it was not the Kyuubi, she wanted to return with him, claiming that they were still a couple, but he made it clear that he does not feel anything, and if this were not enough, his sister Kurosaki did not regret his arrogance, but he only had to humiliate her, and he touched her with his supposed mother as sensei and left her in a bad state along with the Anbu dog better known as Kakashi Hatake. The great opportunity he had to kill them. In the end he didn't do it because Anko was there to avoid it, being his older sister who bothered him a little. There were introductions. He got along well with Yakumo and Sasuke. They had some missions. One was of the waves. He killed Gato. He went to the village of the mist for a matter of demons. He calmed a transformed Indura, revealing to be a female demon named Vermal, being that he took her there. Naruto came to discover many things between them, what happened 3,000 years ago. Added to the fact that Orochimaru and Danzo were actually Cusack and Chandler, these being the former teachers of Meliodas and Zeldris, and that he told them what he knows more, knowing that his brother was in fact an archangel and that he inherited the grace of the tornado. He got closer to Vermal, revealing the feelings that they both hid. They expressed themselves and slept together during that moment. His teachers Meliodas, Zeldris and Estarossa made him see that he must open up to those emotions and of the events that the traitors could resurrect. They went on a date. On the way she met Karma. They hung out and had a good time. Since she introduced them, she proved to be a woman who should not be messed with. Kiyomi wanted to ask Naruto out. He rejected her. Her lapdogs Ino and Hinata wanted to protest, unleashing her anger, and killed them. Kushina reproached Karma for not being home even though she forgot anyway. He made her cry. The arrogant one wanted to hit her. He defended himself with his tornado, which caused the redhead to want to attack her young son with his chains, being avoided by Danzo and Orochimaru. Also the arrival of Liza Uzumaki, her mother, and her cousin Natalie Uzumaki, who went to confront the entire council of what they did to her grandson/nephew, added to the appearance of Nawaki Senju, who came to confront her sister Tsunade after discovering that she has a bastard son with Jiraiya, even though she is married to Dan, being something that angered the arrivals even more, who punished them with a seal, and of course Ino's mother came crying and blaming Naruto for her death, ending up being equally killed by Orochimaru. Starting the Chunin exams, Naruto ended up meeting the Sin of Greed band, who came accompanied by his aunt, being that she is his partner. Added to that, he finally confessed to Vermal, and the two became a couple, something that Kyomi did not like at all since it bothered them for a while, but nothing out of the ordinary. Then they went to the tests until the fights where he faced her, and ended up revealing his biggest secret, his Kekkei Genkai, of which he boasts so much was false, and was through an advanced device. Considered a crime, this ended by killing her in front of all the participants, being very disastrous for Minato and Kushina. Then I discovered that Sasuke was the reincarnation of Fraudrin and Dreyfus. Then he had a fight against Asahi Senju, who turned out to be the Sin of Pride bearer of the Sunshine Grace, where there was a clash of very powerful titans until the traitors appeared: Diane, King, Gelda, Merlin, Elaine and Elizabeth, where they wanted to fix bringing back chaos. Demonstrating their power led them to retreat. So they had to tell the truth to the Kages, who took it well since they finished the Chunin exams well, until Minato along with the third Hokage tried to kill our protagonists, but without many problems they managed to kill them with the help of Obito, who with Fugaku and Nagato entered and had their own village and managed to make peace. And since they went on a trip to be able to seal the chaos that is in Yakumo's body, and during that time things were completely calm. Present. We see a boy who is flying. You can see that he has 4 pairs of wings, and he is heading towards a training camp, and when he comes down he meets a blue-haired girl behind him, and he ends up scaring her, making her try to hit him, but he dodges it while keeping a smile. Nagisa, Karma, until when are you going to stop scaring me like that? You know I really like your jokes, like the one where you put red ink on the guards' pants, and they thought they were actually women. It was very good, he said with a smile. Karma, I'm sorry Nagisa-chan. What happens is that I couldn't help it. You know very well that since I was little, I have always been very good at pranks. But there has been a good side since I started doing them. Now the guards are more alert, and they no longer fall asleep, which has greatly benefited Konoha. By the way, how long do you think it will take? Itachi-sensei said with doubt while looking at him. Nagisa, I don't know, honestly. What I find strange is that he doesn't usually arrive late. He even arrives before us. And he's not hiding, because he would have scolded you like you always do with the jokes you make in the morning. By the way, it reminds me, it's been 3 years, right? And it's more or less around these days where your brother comes with the rest, she said thoughtfully. Karma, true, I had completely forgotten that by now they are coming. How great I will see my older brother. I can't wait to show him how much I have improved with my tornado power, since now I can use it without getting tired, he said with a smile. Nagisa, that is if he doesn't scold you, because you have become very proud when we have gone on missions where you even came to humiliate your opponents. It is good that you have great power, and that you are partly an archangel, but even so you could lower your pride a little, he said seriously. Karma, I can't help it. After all, seeing how all those idiots I've faced fall, I end up defeating them easily. It made me die of boredom. Lately I would like to have a good challenge. The only fun thing is going to the tortures with Enko-ne, he said thoughtfully while he seized her. They continued talking among themselves until the sound of an attack was heard that was directed towards them, and Karma blocked it with a tornado, although she made it retreat so that others appeared out of nowhere again and again, each time more and more, being that he had difficulties in being able to protect the girl who, upon seeing him, wanted to help him anyway and managed to block some until someone says, Nagisa, whoever it is, you better not dare hurt me. Maybe I'm not as strong as Karma, but listen, he's my boyfriend and I'll defend him at all costs, even if it means dying, he said seriously, and he did the same while they heard some footsteps until they saw about 3 people, and 2 of them recognized them. Naruto, I'm very glad to hear that. I can see that my little brother has a girlfriend who is brave, and that despite everything she is willing to protect him no matter the circumstances. I can clearly see how much they have grown, he said with a smile. Karma, big brother, you finally arrived. How good. I miss you a lot. You look very good with long hair. I still missed you, Vermal. Although I have a question, Who is the other young lady who accompanies them? He said with doubt while looking at the two. Vermal. Well, Karma Nagi says she is Albedo. She was another survivor of the demons. We were good friends in the past, and well, now she is also Naruto-kun's partner because during the years I came to notice their interaction. We were talking about it, and I had no problem sharing it only with her, nothing more. I hope that does not bother you, said looking at him. Karma, not at all. Besides, it's not normal for what happens with demons, or so my father Danzo and my father Orochimaru told me, who in fact I consider them that way, and my mother who are a couple, and I'm glad to meet her. I hope we get along, she said with a smile. Albedo, no, the pleasure is all mine. Naruto-kun has told me a lot about you, how nice you are to him, and I also hope to live with you and get along. I can tell you that I know what he had to go through, and I promise that I will support him in everything, even if the world turns against him, he said with a smile. Naruto, well, leaving that aside, Itachi made us look for them since we arrived very early, and we went to the Uchiha house. He said that they weren't going to have a meeting and that if they want, they can come since we will have a meal there, he said calmly. So without further ado, they walked towards the Uchiha complex. Along the way, people stared at them, many in surprise, others in fear because they still know what he did when he was still a genin, even though he now looked more adult and mature. Of course, both women and men couldn't help but blush for our protagonists. Arriving at the Uchiha complex, they saw how many Uchihos were, who immediately greeted Naruto and the rest of the companions with kindness, although they made a small grimace when they saw Karma, something that did not go unnoticed by the protagonist, who had a complex smile and looking away knowing well what he did. Karma. Oh, just because it occurred to me once that on my birthday a nice way to celebrate it was by throwing a big bucket of orange paint that ended up covering almost the entire Uchiha clan, and that took months to remove. It doesn't make sense for them to see me like that, he said unconcerned. Naruto. I knew you were going to be good at pranks, but I never thought it would escalate to that point. I don't know if I'm proud of you or if it makes me very anxious to know the fact of how far your pranks are going to go. It's not like I care about the villagers, their lives, even if one dies better for me, but the Uchihas are something else. I like them except one anyway. As long as you don't do it often, it's fine, he said sighing. Sasuke, guys, you're finally here. I'm so glad to see you again. Karma. I already found out what you did, and your jokes really surprised me. They've advanced a lot, although I don't know if that's good or bad. What do you think, dear? He said with doubt, observing the girl. Yakumo. I say it's fine as long as it has limits, and does it on the battlefield or with idiots with an arrogant complex. Everything is fine. Go ahead, come in. My in-laws are waiting for us along with my brother-in-law, he said with a smile as everyone went in. They went with them, where they met 3 more people, each of them being somewhat peculiar, being a man who had 4 pairs of wings, white hair and blue eyes, next to him a woman who emanated demonic energy, along with another black-haired woman who had a smile on her face only to make her look at him a little strangely. Fugaku, I see you've arrived. Come on, my wife made the food for everyone. It took her some time, but she helped you a lot. Our daughter-in-law is already served. Go ahead, come in, she said, so that the 2 boys nodded and went to sit down. They ate in silence until someone finally spoke. Nagisa, hey, I'm very grateful that you invited us to eat, Uchiha Patriarchs. The food is very delicious, but I speak for my boyfriend because we want to know who they are. One looks like an archangel and they both have dark eyes, so I think they are demons, he said, looking at them. Makoto, you are right, as always very observant of the details, Nagisa, and if they are demons who survived and came to visit with Naruto and the rest, and in fact the man is Dan, being that he was Tsunade's ex-husband, he said with a smile. Karma, yes, now that I realize, Tarmiel, you are the truth. I had suspicions because I felt the grace of the tornado inside you, and the other is Melascula of Faith. But who is she? I don't remember seeing her in Serial's memories. But I feel a commandment, he said confused. Dan, well, it's easy to answer after finding out that Tsunade was unfaithful to me with Jiraiya and that they had a child. That made me so angry that I went with Nawaki to talk, and after we were seen as traitors by the former 4th Hokage, I was wandering the world looking for my son. During the way I met Melascula, who was with Greyroad, who is the woman who is by my side. That was when I recovered my archangel powers along with my memories, he said, so that he was in shock more from hearing his words. Melascula, We survived because of the bottle that Belialum's daughter locked us in when she captured us. She prevented us from being transformed. It took us 3,000 years to recover, although in fact we did not want to get close because we knew it was an archangel. We also had our battles, but we both realized that we were not going to get anywhere. So we worked together. He took us to the old Whirlpool village where they helped us and told us what happened after the defeat of the Demon King, and helped give it a good shape. Grey Road even wanted to change his name, he said, looking at her. Gina, it's true, and calm down, you can call me Gina. I think it's a better name, and I feel much better in this form, and I can still use my magical power along with my commandment of pacifism that thanks to Naruto modified them so that it doesn't affect us, and in fact now we are Dan-kun's wives and we have been very happy together, she said smiling. Naruto. And well, they wanted to accompany us. Meanwhile, Ban and Akemi stayed in Yuzushigakure. During that year we restored the village, and we were able to give a special seal to Yakumo so that the chaos inside her does not affect her in the same way. If something happens with the seal, it will send a signal to our minds in case they want to do something. But enough of us, how have you been? Any news? Said eating. Itachi, well, nothing out of the ordinary, just that Kiyomi disappeared before they left. At the beginning, we didn't give it importance, but it's been a long time since we last saw her. We're worried that she went with the rest of the traitors. As for Kushina and Tsunade, the seal they gave them hit them a lot. Now they look very bad. They don't eat or sleep or anything despite the time having passed, and although I've given them tips so they can stand out, none of it works for them. Oh, and they developed a hatred for Naruto in the way that they blame him for everything, and both are in a cell in an asylum in the lowest part of Konoha. Apart from that, things are normal, he said seriously as always. Fugaku, only that once they escaped and attacked a civilian who was blonde thinking he was Naruto, developing a madness complex, and they believe that killing you things will go back to how they were before. Added to that, they say that you are being possessed by a demon, and that by killing you would be free and you would return to them more. Because Asahi told the truth in Tsunade's face, and she still blames Naruto. In short words, they are crazy, and they believe that killing you is the solution, he said, still remembering that moment. Mikoto, when they checked their homes, they had pictures of Naruto as a baby being hurt and as a child, and both see him as the most precious thing along with others of Asahi and Karma, added to the fact that it seems that they drank many painkillers and drugs in excess, and that will generate their anxiety and madness, not to say that they rave about strange things. And despite the fact that she was my friend in the past, I am afraid to say that she has no salvation for anything, she said sighing. Karma. And well, they just don't kill them because my mom says that despite everything they were her family, and even more so that she was her daughter, and she feels a little bad about how things ended. Hey brother, do you think you can kill them using the arrow of salvation? I know it only works with demons, but if you can modify it, you can hit them, she said with doubt. Naruto, I understand you want me to use it because it kills the opponent without feeling pain. I can do it, and I think it's fair because indirectly it's because of me that they are in that state, although I have not done anything, only return all the pain that they gave me in my childhood and that little endurance. If I had done the same, they would have killed me a long time ago, but leave it, I will talk to our parents, and there we will see it later. For now let's eat, and it serves that we take a walk, he said so that he nods happily. Elsewhere, we see how there were a lot of corpses, each of which can be seen with marks on their necks and were completely malnourished. Others were dead, while in front of them you can see a woman with silver hair and red eyes, who was observing the whole place, to say the following. Kiyomi. Ark, how disgusting having to drink this disgusting human blood. I have to do it to survive now that I am half vampire, half goddess. My magical powers have grown a lot stronger during these 3 years. With this new strength, nothing will stop me from staying with my Naruto, who is the only man who is in my heart, and the only blood I want to drink. Once I eliminate that disgusting demon with the plan we have, you will come back to me, and we will be the couple that we should always have been in our past. Anyway, I must return to Diane and King, who must be waiting for me, she said, to take out her goddess wings and fly away.
Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown and left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day. Bye.